This episode of the We Like Shooting Show is brought to you by Second Call Defense, Manticore Arms, Des Tactical Arms, the Sonoran Desert Institute, Fax and Firearms, the Patriot Patch Company, and Brownells.
Welcome to the We Like Shooting Show, episode 291. Tonight we're going to talk about the SIG P365. We're going to talk about blade tactics, a Georgia medical class, Kel-Tex, RDBS, Magpul, bipods, and more. Our panel tonight is news junkie Savage 1R. We've also got River's Edge Tacticals, Jeremy Paz-Derrick, the Machine Gun Moses, Aaron Krieger's here, Nick Lynch is beside me. My name is Sean Heron, and I want to welcome you to the show. I'm glad that the screen came back on so that you could be waving. And
no, I was holding the waving until the screen came back,
and everyone in podcast land could hear you do it.
Yeah, can you guys hear me waving?
Yeah, it's very annoying.
Yeah, because you're breathing so heavy.
Okay,
there you go. So you could hear my hand interrupt the stream of air from my mouth.
For the people that listen,
your face is so far away from the mic, it's hard to tell.
For the people that listen in their cars and just heard that huge long exhale, I apologize, and I'm sure it just sounded like a meteor hit. But
is this better?
No. All right. I guess tonight will be a drinking game night. All right. So the drinking game. Every time that I say interesting, start a sentence with so, basically nice or dang. Every time Aaron says bi-curious, suggests that registration does not lead to confiscation or interrupt somebody. Every time Jeremy says kill yourself, call Savage a commie, or sniffles, spits, or hate breathes into the mic. Every time Nick says something insightful, says something no one laughs at, or every time that Savage mentions Reddit, mispronounces a sponsor, Washington, or a gun of the pores, take a drink. Right, Savage?
Yeah. Oh, I actually need to get my hat. I got some new patches to show off.
Okay, good. And before we get into everything else, just want to talk quickly about Manticore Arms. All right, so Manticore Arms, you know a lot of the stuff that they're making. I'm especially excited about the Scorpion Evo Bullpup kit. I can't wait till that actually comes out. I think I might take that to the range this week. I think that might be exciting just to shoot and have some fun with. Yeah. But also the transformer rails, all kinds of muzzle devices. If you have a Scorpion Evo, a Tavor X95, or just a Tavor, the Bren, and all kinds of other stuff, AKs, anything, they've got it at manticorearms.com. Coupon code WLS10 saves you 10% all day, every day. And guys, let's go ahead and just get right into it. So our guest tonight, you know him, you love him. We know him, we love him. He is the man of the hour. He is Mayday Safety, Rocket FFL, Trigger Words, the Going Ballistic podcast, and I'm sure that I'm missing like 10,000 other things that he does, but his name is Ryan Kleckner, and we are really happy to have him here tonight. So I think I missed Rocket FFL or Rocket CCW. What all did I miss? A lot. Yeah, it's just too much. How do you keep up, man?
Wait, are we actually live right now?
We are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. I don't keep up. I do too much, but I love it. You know, I have a choice. I work more now than I ever worked when I worked for somebody else. So it's my fault, but it's fun stuff, and you guys keep me busy, and you guys seem to like it, so I'll keep doing it.
I love it. What's been keeping you the busiest lately?
Oh, Mayday Safety. That is a full-time job plus, and then I still run everything else. You know, so today I got to go hang out with Barrett, playing with the new ASR gun. Went out and shot a little course in the middle of the day, which was kind of fun, and came back and just had emails and phone calls and just a whole day waiting for me. But it's the right thing to do.
Sounds awesome. For those who don't know or haven't heard yet, just give us a brief synopsis of what Mayday Safety is.
Mayday Safety is something I started with Kyle Lamb. It's a free smartphone app for everyone in the world to keep their families and friends safe with location-based alerts. And then for organizations like churches and schools and businesses and stuff like that, they can subscribe to get a dashboard that works like the Hollywood Tactical Operations Center dashboard, where it shows where everybody is and rooms and buildings and communication and stuff like that. It's really my answer to more gun laws won't work. And instead of just stopping the sentence there, I'm able to follow it up with, here's something that might.
I like it. It is available. People can download and install it right now, right?
It is. Thanks.
And then not just that, but they can install it on iPhone. They can install it on Android. And then if there's like people out there who run organizations or who make decisions at organizations, there's options available for like schools and businesses and all kinds of other stuff as well, right?
It's true. It's most popular in the United States and Canada, but third place country to like seventh place country are the stands in the Middle East. It's crazy.
That is kind of interesting.
Well, they don't have a 911 system. They don't have anything like that. So they now have a way that they can use an Android device or a smartphone and tap a button and say, hey, I got an emergency right here.
So I'm looking at the app right now. I just downloaded it. Your user license agreement is 17 pages long, man.
Well,
Does anyone actually read that?
he is an attorney.
Is that one of those things where if you actually read through it, you'll find out a hidden clause that will give you $10,000 if you send like a letter in?
No.
If I told you, it wouldn't be hidden.
So everyone go read the license agreement. It'll be just fine.
So why didn't
No, the
you
biggest
stick with
issue
the
is
rocket thing?
I want people to trust it and rely upon it, but it's still a app. I mean, it's still a smartphone. You'd be amazed at the questions I get all the time. Like, hey, if my phone breaks, will it still work? No. If you throw it in the bathtub, if you throw it out the window, if your battery dies, if your phone's off, no, it's not going to work. It's technology. It can fail. So I gotta try and unfortunately cover my butt a little bit there.
Makes sense.
But also location-based services. I don't want to track anybody. People are setting off Maydays. And that's the biggest problem I've had with the app is the big red button that says Mayday on it is everybody presses the button.
It says try it out. Tap it 3 times to test.
Oh, you were doing the demo. Good. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Well, you got to. I mean, you got to know how it works.
25% of the people set off a Mayday alert within the first 24 hours of downloading it just to try it.
Dang. If I ever get a Mayday from Aaron, I'll just be like, new phone, who dis?
So why didn't you stick with the rocket thing, right? You've got like Rocket FFL, Rocket CCW. It could have been Rocket Mayday.
It could have been. And I had Rocket Safety and Rocket all that. I thought about that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about Mayday seemed like a cooler name, especially since I wanted 3 button taps so people didn't accidentally hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And then just Mayday, Mayday, Mayday made sense. And then the whole kind of radar, finding beacons and dots on a map seemed like it fit.
I like
sense.
it. But I think that it would have been like Rocket Safety, maybe, Nick.
Well,
Maybe not Rocket Mayday.
I mean,
Okay. What about Red Rocket?
Okay.
I just sent the link to Sean so he can be my Mayday buddy.
Like I said, new phone,
his
who dis?
phone just buzzed. I heard it.
Nope, it didn't. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I must have been mistaken.
No, you're totally mistaken.
I'm really excited about this app, to be honest with you. This is interesting.
You're just now installing it?
Do you have it?
Yeah, I've had it for like months.
And why didn't you invite me on your Mayday app info? Why? Because if it starts going in Colorado, it's going to be coming in Michigan too. I need to know. You're like my early warning system.
You could watch the
Good.
news.
I mean, guys, put plenty of people on there, but have people that can do something about it, right?
All right, I'm going to add you, Ryan.
Tell me how that works out.
Can I deny these requests?
Yeah. So part of the problem with the dashboard that we solved is that I think people think more communication is better, and they're wrong. So a lot of the schools we talk to, especially the schools, they say, "Oh, we got it solved. We have this app where it's like a group text, or we have radios or stuff like that." And I try my best to talk them out of it. And now I've learned enough. I just shut up and let them try it first. Because what you have is one person screams, everybody get out. One person screams, everyone stay put. One person screams something else, and it's absolute chaos. Mm-hmm. So please add your friends and family, but don't go crazy on it. Add people that you think will be able to help you in a true emergency. Because if you just start adding a ton of people, you don't need 1, getting everyone used to false alarms, or 2, getting 20 phone calls from people in an emergency. So, yeah. I mean, add your spouse or your kids or your parents or immediate folks and leave it at that.
Yeah, see, I ended up deleting the app because I tried to add my parents on there, and they actually ended up going and getting new phone numbers specifically because of that. So
I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I don't think you should have deleted the app, though.
I mean,
because apparently Aaron's looking for Mayday buddies.
If everybody,
See? Exactly, Nick. No one wants to be your friend.
Is there a chat feature on this?
No, that's specifically not in there.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to find single women near me without this app?
If you check your Grindr app, Aaron, there's already a licensed version of Mayday inside of Grindr for you.
Oh, outstanding.
Have you considered Mayday I'm horny?
No, the Grindr version is just called Gay Day.
Well, wait, so
except when you press the button, rave music comes on.
But I was just well familiar with it.
It's raining men.
You know.
All right, hey, getting back to this. So Actually, tell me how it works, because I do have it installed. I haven't set it up with anyone yet. But if something goes wrong,
waiting, by the way,
if something goes wrong and something goes bad and there's like a mass killing incident or just like a fire or something like that, so I press the button 3 times, and then
first solve the problem if you can, or get yourself to safety. That might be solving the problem. And your loved ones to safety. Don't be staring at your smartphone if you need to be running for your life or shooting somebody or applying first aid. So, second, go to your Mayday app. If you're not part of an organization that has Mayday, you're simply alerting everyone in your little community. So anyone that you've added has added you back, all their phones will go off with that alarm with a dot with you on a map that says Sean needs help. That's it. It's useful. It can help families, especially when people are traveling. But when it really comes to a mass shooting or solving an event like that, the organization needs to be a subscriber, because they then get the map, and all the leadership and security team can, on an iPad or even on a phone, they can see exactly where the alerts are going off. Then they can communicate with people. They can then say, building 1200, you can evacuate, or do you have any casualties in your room? Or are you locked down and safe, or do you need help? And depending on how people answer, they change to red or green dots on the map. It really takes off at the organization level. The free level is the free level.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, having it at an organization or a school, especially some of the training that I've done, it makes a lot of sense, because they're kind of just like wandering around, like walking around, trying to figure out things. And this, having that where it shows all the people who reported in on a map, that's legit.
I challenge people, and I get I probably frustrate them when I start a conversation, especially with teachers. I'll say to one of the teachers as we're meeting with them, all right, you're getting out of your car at lunch, you're heading back into the school, and you see a student with a gun walking to the building. What do you do? Say, well,
get in my car.
I call the school. I say, great. Who do you call? The school. Who? Exactly. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It'd be better if his mic was by his mouth.
But wait, I know, Jeremy.
No,
they
it wouldn't.
They end up saying, call the school, and I say who, and then they don't. I challenge them. Where's the front office phone number? Pull your phone out and show me where the number is. And then usually they admit they'd have to Google the school's number. And then I'd ask them, well, because who would have the front office phone number in their phone, right? And I say, who are you going to talk to? Maybe Nancy? Is Nancy at her desk? Is she at lunch too? Okay, great. You got a hold of Nancy. What do you tell Nancy, and what does she do? And you can tell that after a few challenging questions, they realize, oh, crap, I don't have anything to do here. Versus hitting the button and every single person in the school's phone going off an alarm for a lockdown. Even if nothing else happens, at least you locked the whole school down in 5 seconds. Even if it stops there, it's a better chance. But yes, Jeremy, I wish the teacher would be able to pull out a gun and shoot them and stop the problem.
Oh, I thought you said me, because I would just shoot them.
Yes.
Yeah. So will this app work in the background? Like, let's say I pull the thing out, I hit the Mayday button, and then I call 911. Will it still send out the signal, or will it continue
100%.
to?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Or vice versa. I guess I call 911 and then I hit the button.
Yeah.
So, like, if I have already hit the button, I can send text messages or whatever, and it'll still function.
It works completely in the background.
Right on.
That's very cool.
And when you decide to turn your phone to silent, it honors that. And I think,
That's
Sean,
nice.
you're the one that helped me with that one, because at first I had it overriding silent features, and I realized, nope. I want to give people the power to take control of their safety. I'm not going to take that control away from them. So
Yeah, it was just like, what if I'm hiding under a desk somewhere?
And then your phone starts going.
No, it's awesome, man. A Mayday Safety, just search for it in whatever app. And honestly, like, if you're out there, I know tons of our listeners are like, they're either on the safety committees or they run teams of people at companies and things like that. This is huge.
thanks, man. I got to figure out how to bring the price up. I could just do it. But the biggest complaint, believe it or not, is they think that it's not much because it's cheap. It's $1,500 a year for a school, and that includes every teacher, every student, every parent, every community member, the local law enforcement, everything.
Well, they don't even have to get a grant for that.
Well, maybe I just need to jack the price up to make it more worthwhile or something. But we're trying to help out, so we'll see.
Exactly. You mentioned that.
You know what? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Well, you should say it's $30,000, but we subsidize the cost, so you only have to pay $1,500. And then they'll be like, "Oh my God, yeah, we want it." Yeah.
Aaron's only good marketing idea ever, and he gives it to Kleckner. And then he mutes himself halfway through his sentence.
You know, Kleckner, that's a $20,000 idea, but we'll give it to you for $20.
What about
subsidize
10 Bitcoin?
it.
See how good that is? He's ready to buy. Ryan, you mentioned going and shooting something from Barrett today.
Yeah, so Barrett won the SOCOM ASR contract. If you guys saw that last week, that's been a mess. You guys want to get into that one? Let me know. I was part of the Remington screw up of that.
Ooh,
Remington
yes.
did the MSR contract, and it just completely the wheels fell off of that thing.
I do want to hear.
Let's
about
talk about the
Yes,
MSR.
all about this.
that. Yeah.
All right, so the first contract was the MSR contract, the modular sniper rifle contract, and that included a modular switch-barreled rifle. And the Remington MSR had merit. I mean, it was a cool platform. It was a monstrosity of a receiver that essentially had a barrel nut on it, so the barrels would change like an AR barrel. The barrels had a barrel extension on them already. And it was 338 Lapua, 300 Win Mag, and 308 Winchester. And in a cool chassis and just really sexy-looking gun. And Remington won the MSR contract. I don't know, it was probably 6 years ago now, maybe more. I found out at EWA in Germany that we won the contract. And after that, it was just issues of quality control and delivery, and this barrel wouldn't do like it was supposed to, but the next barrel did, and then this bolt spring was different, and it just problems and problems and problems, and the contract kept dragging out, and I was on the brunt end of a lot of the upset people, even though I'm not building the guns, trying to get this figured out. And SOCOM finally had enough and said, you know what? We're done. We're getting rid of the MSR contract. We're canceling it. And we're going to do a new one and starting completely over, which is a major deal with all the time and money and energy.
Wow.
So they started over with what they call the ASR contract, the Advanced Sniper Rifle contract. That's been going for, 3 years now. And I was a slow convert to the MRAD. I thought it was ugly. I thought it was clunky. I didn't think it was the right system at all. And then the more I shot it, the more I got used to it, the more I kind of fell in love with it and started calling that it was going to win ASR for the last couple of years. And I finally got right on something. And they awarded it to him last week. So it's going to be 338 Norma and 300 Norma, which are both mistakes, and 308 Winchester.
Now, why don't you like the Norma rounds?
They win on paper. They're awesome. But the problem is every single year a new cartridge comes out that beats everything else on paper, right? There's something, oh, look at this one. It's faster, or it shoots flatter, or has more energy. And if we always chase what the newest thing is, then we're always going to change. And there's a lot of the military has to do with uniformity. I mean, it's not – things that work in the military aren't the highest tech. Things that work in the military are that available and that function.
Why don't you just stay with traditional then, like the 308 cartridge?
Fine. 308's one of them already, but 338 Lapua is already used by a lot of NATO countries.
Right.
So 338 Lapua is just fine.
So why did they move to the Norma?
Because on paper, it outperforms
on paper.
Lapua.
Because it's newer and sexier.
Yeah.
So all right. So the Remington rifle that had been around. 6 years ago it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I'm not familiar with. Is it commercial?
No.
Can I get it?
No.
Will they be? Do you think they're going to move it over, seeing how the military no longer uses it? No. Just that it was just that bad, huh?
So
I think it was like 30,000.
Yeah. Actually, I was about to say this. So I worked for a company that had an MSR, the entire setup, all the barrels, the mags for each, all the entire setup. It came in a case that was the size of a coffin that you could probably drop out of like an airplane or something and it'd be fine. I believe the invoice on it was like 27 something. And it shot like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Eek. So the new ASR shoots better than that?
Oh, yeah. So the MRAD, again, it doesn't look like it should work, but it does. And the bolt, I'm a big fan of a smooth bolt. I think you need to shoot and reload the fucking gun. I hate it when people sit there on a bolt gun and they shoot around and sit there with either the bolt still closed or they open the bolt and they sit there and stare at their pretty targets. I'm like, you know what? When I used to teach sniper students, I used to pull them aside and say, all right, if you just did your pistol qualification course or your carbine qualification course or a drill, would you really end the drill in the course with your slide locked to the rear, lower the gun and stare at your pretty target, and then put it away in your holster with the slide lock back? No. You would get the gun back up and running, right? Well, yeah, this is no different. You're still in a fight. It's still a weapon. So trying to get the gun running, get the gun reloaded as fast as you can after you shoot, things like that. Well, the Barrett just looked too clunky, but the more I used it, guys, if you haven't shot one, you got to try it. It's got like a plastic sleeve around it that makes it slick as can be. It's awesome. And to change barrels, I mean, I wanted to go take the new 300 PRC on my elk hunt last year. So I just had Barrett send me a barrel, took 2 torque screws out, throw the barrel in, put the torque screws back down, and my gun's converted to a brand new caliber. I went out and elk hunted with it and then changed it back when I came back. It's freaking awesome.
No issues with the bolt face or anything?
Well, no, they give you a bolt. So it's got a barrel extension on it like an AR.
Okay.
So you throw the barrel in loose, you put the new bolt head on, you put the bolt in and close it, and the bolt head, instead of the lugs being perpendicular, the lugs are angled like a screw. So as you tighten the bolt, the lugs like screw the barrel in tight to the right headspace, and you just torque the 2 torque screws down, and you're done.
That's pretty
You change the magazine. So I have a MRAD that shoots anything from 308 up to 338 Lapua in the same gun. So it's been pretty handy. And the new ASR version is a little different here and there. I just posted an article of it, which talks about some of the changes like M-lock and the color and some things in the buttstock, but it's effectively the same gun.
Yeah, I'm also. Does this one also cost $27,000?
No, I think the commercial version right now you can pick up for $5,000, which is expensive, but not when you realize that's the last big gun you'll need. I mean, you want to reach out and touch something at a distance, that's it. You want a new caliber, you just change it.
Oh, what kind of glass do you have on that?
I shoot a Vortex Razor Gen 2. Those are my favorite scopes.
Is that 6x55?
3 to 18.
3 to 8, really?
Mm-hmm.
That shallow.
I think Aaron just made it up there. He's 6x55-ish niner.
Magnification is not your friend, Aaron. I wrote this book that you should check out.
Well, I have. You know what? I think I have. Honestly, God, I have your book.
Hold on while I whip out this knowledge.
And
but I'm waiting for the audio version to come out because
3 to 5 times in the book, I put a separate box that says magnification is not your friend. You will shoot less accurately the higher magnification you go. So stop doing it.
Why do they keep selling me this glass? That gives me that much distance then.
Because you keep buying it.
Glass doesn't give you distance, Aaron.
All right, well, shut up, Ryan.
You need as much magnification as required to see the target.
Okay.
So if the target's something like shooting at a dumpster, you only need to see a dumpster. If you decided the target is a kill zone on an animal, great. You need enough magnification to see that kill zone. That's it. Anything more than that is going to make it harder to see the target, make it harder to refine the target after recoil, magnify your errors of shaking or instability, things like that.
Right, but we're talking, what about distance,
Okay, you need enough magnification to see your target. So what kind of target are you shooting at distance, Aaron? Like an E-type silhouette?
A gas line.
I'm shooting a rabbit at 1,000 yards.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
I'm giving an example.
It's a VW rabbit.
Right.
Then 18 power may not be enough for you.
Okay. I just want to know how much I need to reach out and get some. You know what? I really like what company makes that? It starts with the B. Burris. The Burris one with the rangefinder in there and all that great stuff.
Mm.
Have you used that one?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay, tell me about it. And why you've not used it ever? You just don't want to, or?
No, I'd try one out if someone had one. I wouldn't. It's not that I'm opposed to using it. I don't think that's professional grade.
Okay, because of the quality, or just the fact that it marks a lot of information for you.
I've just never shot a Burris or been around a Burris that was that great. No, there's nothing wrong with it. If you have a Burris, that's awesome. I'm not trying to pick on the pores here. I'm just saying I'm lucky enough in my life to have a choice to shoot whatever scope I want. So
that's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah. What about March scopes? What do you think of those?
March?
What?
March. M-A-R-C-H? March?
March, not Marsh.
Yeah, March.
Has anyone here ever heard of March scopes?
No.
No.
All right, let me find it really quick.
Yes.
I got a better one. How about ATN?
God.
No on ATNs?
March makes a lot of bench rest scopes that are like, they make one that's like up to 80 power, but it's a fixed power.
Definitely bench rest.
Jesus.
They make bench rest scopes.
So you can see craters on the moon.
But you'd never be able to find him again if you breathe.
It's
like the guys that are trying to shoot 1-inch groups at 1,000 yards because they don't touch the rifle and their triggers are pulled by a ripcord and the thing's strapped into a 300-pound concrete bench.
That's got to be the syringe.
You got to make sure
the pneumatic trigger.
What?
It's not the pneumatic, but the what do you call it? The syringe, hydraulic. Thank you, the hydraulic trigger.
Aaron has one of those.
I have one of those. Yeah.
They have they have an 8 to 80 listed here.
Oh my god.
That's like the telescope that my parents got me when I was a kid, so that I could look at the stars and stuff and the moon. Yeah.
And all he did was find your aim.
But you know what? I saw it really clearly. It was huge.
All those craters.
That's kind of awful.
Brown star.
So Ryan,
Browns.
this whole thing with the district court in Connecticut saying that that the Sandy Hook parents could go forward with lawsuits against Remington. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So there's a federal law that we call PLACA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. Essentially, it says that if you are lawfully engaging in the commerce of firearms, then you are insulated. You're protected from lawsuits for the misuse of those guns, which makes a lot of sense. So I used to work for the NSSF, and Larry Keene at the NSSF, my boss, the general counsel there, helped champion this in 2005. And at that time, the industry was facing some serious issues. They were embroiled in lawsuits all over the place from people suing manufacturers and dealers and distributors. And so they got PLACA passed so that it would protect them. Now, which means not that you're a manufacturer or a dealer or distributor, you can't be sued. It just means that you're protected as long as you are lawful or you weren't negligent in what you were doing. So let's say a dealer is knowingly taking part of a straw purchase. Well, the dealer is no longer protected by PLACA because they're breaking the law. Or if you were making machine guns and you weren't supposed to, that's, again, you're not following the law. It's not lawful commerce. You're not protected. But the exemption that they're trying to apply here is negligence. And they're saying that Remington was negligent in how they marketed. So it's really Bushmaster marketed the firearms. They pulled up a lot of the Bushmaster ads at the time, like consider your man card reissued and things like that. And it's a kind of a niche law in Connecticut. There's actually a Connecticut law that talks about how it's negligent to advertise a certain way for dangerous products. And so they're attacking Remington under the Connecticut law and said, based on this state law, manufacturers can't essentially encourage this kind of dangerous product. And they've said that Remington can be sued because they first brought the lawsuit and they got insulated. They said, no, Remington can't be sued, PLACA. And this is the appeal. And the Connecticut Supreme Court said, no, game on, sue Remington. I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. I'm an optimist. I think that this is going to go to the next court case, and they're going to say, this is ridiculous. But it does scare me a little bit. I mean, this would be a bad floodgate to open on the rest of the industry. If they believe that an AR-15 is so dangerous that it shouldn't be sold in the commercial market, guys, there's a really out of left field way of gun control that we may not have expected.
Yeah, it definitely is concerning, but hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I tried to look at some of the ads just to see if I was like, is this irresponsible? And I guess I just couldn't get it. Can you see any way where it would possibly be irresponsible?
No, but under the Connecticut definitions they're going after, which is a dangerous product. So they're trying to say the AR-15 had no business being in civilians' hands, and the advertisements were encouraging the AR-15 to be in civilians' hands. So it's not the advertisements. They're starting at the point where they say the AR-15 is a weapon of war, and then via the advertisements, they're encouraging civilians to own this weapon of war.
Interesting. Do you agree with the district court's decision or no?
No.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people saying, well, you know, with Connecticut law the way it is, that it makes sense. And I was like, does it? Because I read through it a few times. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, it's not a dangerous weapon of war, first. And if we're going to talk Second Amendment, I think no gun is more protected under the Second Amendment than an AR-15.
Yeah.
I actually would make the argument that a deer rifle is less protected by the Second Amendment than the AR-15 is.
Makes sense.
Because
it's for hunting.
Well, go back to, was it Miller? Oh, you guys caught me off the top of my head now. I shouldn't say this.
Right, you were all like I would argue, and I want to hear this argument because I want to use it myself.
All right, so back in 1934, when the National Firearms Act actually came out, you guys are going to correct me in the comments. So I'm saying it's Miller, but again,
yes, it's Miller.
It is.
Is it? All right, so a guy got in trouble for having a sawed-off shotgun, right, in his truck, and so he got taken to court and prosecuted and saying, hey, you had a firearm that was regulated under this new National Firearms Act, and you're in trouble now. And he argued the National Firearms Act was unconstitutional because the Second Amendment guaranteed his right to keep and bear arms. And the Supreme Court at the time actually went and did a survey of the United States military and said, hey, U.S. military, do you guys use short-barreled shotguns in combat? The U.S. military came back and actually answered the court and said, no, we do not have a use for short-barreled shotguns in combat or predominantly in combat. And the Supreme Court came back and said, because the short-barreled shotgun has no use in combat, it is not protected by the Second Amendment, and therefore he could get in trouble. Now, just because there's a ruling in 1934 doesn't mean it applies today. There's been a lot of things that have conflicted with it, but that's what I like to look at when I say the Second Amendment protects arms for overthrowing a tyrannical government. I mean, when people bring up things like cop killer bullets, they go, we shouldn't be able to have cop killer bullets or bullets that can penetrate armor. My answer is pretty controversial. We should have only bullets that could penetrate armor. That's what the Second Amendment protects. If the gun you have isn't effective in potentially overthrowing a government, maybe the Second Amendment doesn't cover it.
Well, also, Miller was murdered before the Supreme Court actually saw the case, and his lawyer wasn't able to present any evidence to the contrary.
Murdered by who?
The Clintons.
Well, he was a bank robber, and that's why he got arrested, because the shotgun was in his car after he'd robbed a bank.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude,
Very interesting. Oh, well, there you have it.
The more you know.
Yeah. Let's just take a quick break. We're talking to Ryan Kleckner, and we'll be right back after we hear from Second Call Defense.
Now, for our defensive gun use of the week, sponsored by Second Call Defense, offering you complete protection for armed self-defense.
All right. Savage, how many defensive gun uses do you see on Reddit in the average week?
On the average week, at least 20 or 30.
Interesting. Now, Ryan, did you ever work in that field of the law, helping people who had been in self-defense shootings, things like that?
Nope. I feel bad, but I get emails all the time from folks, and my response is, "I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's not my thing." Don't use something like Second Call Defense because that's not my specialty.
Yeah, because so that was kind of Sean Maloney. He didn't do it, and then he started helping people in some of those cases just because he was feeling whatever. And he just saw their lives just getting trashed. So, they're having to come up with all the money to pay attorneys and things like that, and just saw lives kind of slipping away as they fought for their freedom when they were in the right, according to them and Sean and the law. And so he figured there kind of had to be a better way. So that's why he invented Second Call Defense. So if you carry a gun out there, if you have a gun at your house, even if you don't carry it, just someone breaks into your house and you use a firearm for self-defense, there's still going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of things to navigate through, and that's what Second Call Defense does. They pay day one, $1, so you don't have to worry about being found innocent first. They take care of you from the very, very beginning, and we'd like it if you could go take a look at them. WeLikeShooting.com/SCD is where you can find out more. And Aaron, what do we always say?
Don't wait till it's too late.
This portion of We Like Shooting has been sponsored by Second Call Defense, the most comprehensive protection for armed self-defense in America. Visit WeLikeShooting.com/SCD to find out how to get your first month free.
All right, we are.
Sorry about that weird inflection at the end there. We've had a bout of the stomach flu here at the house.
So, Aaron, they should take some of your marketing advice. Second Call Defense should say, instead of don't wait till it's too late, be like, hey, wait till it's too late if you want. After the shooting, it's $50,000.
Right? Yeah,
Exactly.
There you go.
Before the shooting, here's our rates. You want to sign up after you shoot somebody? No problem. $50,000.
See, it is pretty smart marketing. Let's be honest here. That's genius.
Well, I had an attorney come through one of my medical classes once, and he was like, yeah, every bullet that leaves a gun is a Suburban. And I was like, oh, what? Like a suburban neighborhood? Or he's like, no, a suburban vehicle. And I was like, because it hits hard? Or He's like, no, because you could buy a Suburban for what you're going to have to pay to defend yourself. And I was like, oh, right.
So like $600 in my area?
Yeah, a month. All right, we are back with Ryan Kleckner. Now, Ryan, before the show, I said, I want you to teach us something. And you were like, what? And I was like, I don't care. Just like teach us something. Because I always watch your videos and I read your articles over at Gun University. And I always learn something. So I thought maybe take this opportunity to teach our listeners and ourselves something. I know that's tough.
Well, I forget what we talked about last time we were on. I should have gone back and listened to the episode. Did we talk about what I call acceptable accuracy last time? Do you remember that? Have I taught you guys that?
I don't think so.
All right, this is one of those nuggets I wish everybody would learn when it came to more accurate shooting is stop trying to be so accurate. So what happens is, I know that you all have a monologue going on in your head when you're trying to shoot accurately, and it goes something like this. A little bit left, a little bit right, no, slow down, no, right about, no, a little bit higher, a little bit further left, and right about now. And then you mash the out of the trigger, and you're surprised why you have a bad group or why you missed. Instead, I think you should define your target realistically. So if it's the kill zone on an animal, great. Let it be the kill zone of an animal. If it's anywhere on the steel target you're shooting, great. Let it be anywhere on the steel target. Don't try to make it the dead center. I know this is the exact opposite of what you're probably expecting to hear from me, but stop trying to shoot the dead center of that steel target. And instead, while focusing on your reticle, let the reticle move within the entire steel target. Apply pressure to the trigger. And if the gun goes off when the reticle is at the edge of the steel target, that's a hit. You're the one that just defined that you'd be happy with a hit anywhere on that steel target. That's way better than trying to be so precise and then jerking the trigger and getting the round completely all over the place. So define what you want your target to be realistic, and once you define what's acceptable accuracy for you, be happy with that acceptable accuracy. Let the reticle move within that zone and apply pressure, and then hit on the edge of whatever is good enough for you. Well, that's called good enough. That's what I would try.
You know, it's funny because my inner monologue usually sounds like
Mine's usually like, okay, breathe. Oh, did I breathe again? Okay. Nope, you missed it again. Okay, take another breath.
So would you say there's a difference between acceptable accuracy and practical accuracy?
Yes, definitely in the pronunciation of the two.
I like that.
Yes, so there is, but one dictates the other. So practical accuracy dictates what's acceptable to you, right? So if you have a chance to shoot a group, you're trying to shoot that little 1-inch square at 100. Great, then shoot that 1-inch square. But you're out hunting and you're trying to hit the kill zone, then be the kill zone. And like the whole breathing thing, guys, I'm the anti all this sniper voodoo matters. Stop worrying about your breathing. Do you know what dictates when it's time to shoot? The target. The bad guy decides when it's time to shoot. The animal that steps out behind the tree decides when it's time to shoot. You don't get to say, wait, bad guy, go back. Hold on. and get another breath, right? Now, if you do that, that's fine. That's okay for learning the fundamentals. I'm not against that. But guys, in the real world, whether it's hunting or self-defense or whatever you're doing, you don't always get a chance to get the perfect respiratory pause before you pull the trigger. So I think instead of focusing on that, you should focus on being able to control the gun in an unstable platform. Like today when I went shooting, we went out to a buddy of mine course. He actually has a course set up around the mountains and hills that you get to hike and get your heart rate up and shoot from awkward positions at steel targets to simulate like a hunting course. So you're leaning against a tree downhill while you're trying to catch your breath and shoot something. That's realistic, not shooting on a shooting bench. Sorry, Sean, worrying about your breath too much.
No, it's definitely, I obsess about the smallest, dumbest things, but most of the time when I'm like shooting long range, it's like I've got people with me and I'm like cameras rolling a lot of times. And I'm like, if I miss this, everyone is going to make fun of me for like the next week. Or in the case of my friends like Nick and Aaron and Jeremy, the next 6, and Savage, I guess, a little bit, the next 10 years. And it stresses me out. Like shooting long range actually stresses me out sometimes because I'm like, I just don't want to miss, and then I miss, and it stresses me out. And like, how do you get rid of that freaking cascade of guilt?
I guess you don't. There's a lot of performance anxiety, if you will, because it doesn't matter how good of a sniper you were last shot. It only matters what the next shot you're going to take. But there's a life lesson in there. If you do miss, at least figure out why you missed and correct it. That shot is downrange. You can't do anything to bring it back. So I tell students all the time, I'm even teaching the local 4-H club needed an air rifle instructor. So I volunteered for the county 4-H club. So I teach high school kids air rifle, like Olympic style air rifle. It's a blast.
In your spare time?
In my spare time, I do. Yeah, it's crazy. And so one of the things I teach them, and when we go down and diagnose their targets after every shooting drill, is why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I beat into them. It's more important. Yes, literally. More important to miss and know why you missed than to hit and have no idea why you hit. Because if you know why you missed, then you can work on that and you can fix it next time. If you just got lucky and hit something, you can't replicate that. So Sean, miss, go, I wonder why I missed. Make an adjustment, shoot and hit the second time, and then hit again the third time, and now you walk away a stud because you just hit it twice in a row. Who cares that you missed the first one?
I like that. So there's been an ongoing thing in my long-range shooting. So Aaron and I, we've been to the range a bunch of times, and we would try to shoot things. And I always ascribed, because I thought that you're, less magnification. You only need as much as you need to see the target. So I'm always like, around 10x, something like that. I try to do everything from there. And we were shooting at a remote control car one time, and I couldn't hit at 10x. And we weren't even that far. We were maybe like 100 yards. And I was missing at 10x because it was, I could see it, but it was pretty small, and I just kept missing it. And so he gets behind the rifle because I was like, this, whatever. And he cranks it all the way up to 24 and nails it on the first shot. And I was like, so it's like my fundamentals are bad, right?
Or maybe you needed 24 power to get that shot. So here's the problem. We don't keep shooting after we hit the target, right? It's like someone says, I was looking for my keys and they were in the last place I looked. Well, no, who would keep looking after they found them?
Aaron.
Right?
Sometimes.
When you did something different and then made a hit, sometimes you want to say that that's the thing that you did. So if you lifted your left foot in the air and shot for the 20th time and finally hit the target, you're going to go, oh, lifting my left foot in the air is what I needed. So maybe the higher magnification did it. Maybe it was fundamentals. Maybe the scope wasn't set up right for your head. I see that a lot with shooters, that they don't set the scope and the rifle up for themselves. They think that the scope's on the rifle, so it's good to go. That's just as bad as trying to drive someone else's car with the seat and the mirrors adjusted for them. You need to have a gun that fits you properly, in my opinion.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because a scope reticle is like just having a front sight on a gun. You can put the sight on the target, but you have no way of confirming that the sights are aligned properly. Mm-hmm. So a scope has that shadow, that fuzzy black ring around the outer edge of the view. That ring is what helps you center the scope. Well, there's a little bit of forgiveness there. And if you're not careful, you could be to one edge or the other of that and be missing.
That makes sense. I have another question. And everyone here probably knows, but so when I'm figuring out where to mount my optic on my rail, like what position to mount it, are there some good, is there some good tips that I can use to kind of find the right position? Of course, I'm looking for eye relief and things like that, but I know that Nick actually got scope bit by one of my optics the other day. And I was like, wait, maybe it's just back too far. How do you find the right spot?
You get on your gun in the position you think you're going to shoot the most. So it can change from prone to bench or stuff like that. So get in the position you think you're going to be using the most. Get comfortable on the gun with your eyes closed. Head rested on the gun, into your shoulder, everything fine with your eyes completely closed. And then it helps to have a friend to help you. Open your eyes and don't move your body, and move the scope until it's perfectly clear. So if you're talking forward and back mounting, move it to where it's clear, and then push it forward a little bit until it starts to get fuzzy, then bring it back till it starts to get fuzzy, and find the middle of that zone, and that's where it gets mounted. So make the scope mounted to where it fits your head and your eyes and your body position. And if that doesn't work, then you need to change the buttstock to get it there.
And does the eye relief change as you move forward and backward at the max magnification compared to the lowest?
Great question. Yes, it is more sensitive at the highest magnification.
So put it on the highest and then do this thing.
Correct. I'll start with the low to be able to find through the scope easier. Mm-hmm. And then once you think you're good, confirm it, put it on high power. So for me, I got a big head. I'm taller. I'm not Jeremy sized, but
I was going to say, you're a little guy.
I'm 6'2". 6'2" is not little. To you, it is.
This is where Jeremy's like, guys, I'm tall. I'm tall, guys.
But I got a head like I should be your size, Jeremy. I got a big head.
It's true. It's weird. It's like a bobblehead on a little doll.
It's like an orange on a toothpick. It's like
I need to move my scope forward. So I know
now we're talking about
forward edge of the rail. So I'm going to put the bottom half of my scope ring at the very front of the rail, and the other scope ring further back, and I'll leave the top half of the scope rings off and just throw the scope in the rings and then let it slide to where I need to get it and then mount it.
Yeah, that's
and just to reaffirm, when you say when you zero it in, you should be at the highest when you zeroed in, or does that matter?
No, when you're adjusting the scope's position. So and also your head position.
So, but when you zero your scope, should it be all the way out, all the way up?
I usually power it all the way up when I'm zeroing it because I'm trying to be as precise. I'm not worried about having to find the target. I'm not worried about the gun moving because I'm not going to likely be zeroing it while I'm standing, right? I'm going to be nice and supported and on a bench or something.
Jason R on YouTube just said, if you read the book, it's all in there. And I have read the book. But
it's a great book.
I'm going to read it again.
Yeah.
When is the audiobook coming out?
So, I don't know. I want to do the audiobook so bad right now, but I get my ass kicked so much about not having the advanced book ready yet that I'm afraid of coming out with the audiobook first because it'll make everyone upset that the advanced book isn't done.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to read when I go home tonight, I'm going to get my book out. I'm going to read it while I record with my cell phone, and then I'll send you that, and you just release it.
Sounds good.
And I'm going to read it real sexy, too.
I think what'll be fun about the audiobook is I'll be able to go off on tangents, which I think people might like. I'll be able to get onto a topic and be like, all right, let me explain this a little differently or a little bit better. And so that maybe if they get an audiobook, they'll get a little extra.
Yeah. I know we're excited. So I've actually been listening to a ton of audiobooks lately. Normally, I read some and listen to some when I'm driving, but lately I listened to 2 books in the last week.
Best audiobook on Audible, 1984.
I've never read or I've never heard that one.
The narrator they have for that book is so freaking good, you'll forget you're listening to the book.
Damn.
You're in the scenario and you're here imagining the characters talking to each other, and then every once in a while you're like, holy this is just some dude reading all these characters. It's good.
That's awesome, man.
I don't know. Nick Offerman doing Huckleberry Finn's pretty good.
That sounds hilarious.
That does sound pretty good, actually. I would listen to that. So
I don't know. Harry Potter, the guy who did that one was really good.
I read all those books.
Have you guys just heard about Harry Potter being a Star Wars ripoff?
No. Educate me.
Hey, hold on. Orphan, whose parents were killed, living with aunt and uncle, who has special powers he doesn't know about, who gets this dude that used to practice these powers with a big beard but doesn't practice them anymore, pulls them from the aunt and uncle, sends them off to special training with a wand/lightsaber, who has a girl sidekick who looks like a romantic relationship but ends up being more like a sister later, who has a buddy who ends up hooking up with the girl, and then the evil emperor bad guy has a weird old guy face, and then Snape is like Darth Vader. It's freaking crazy how much they're the same.
All I can think of is they have Ron Solo now.
Ron Solo.
That's a good T-shirt. So, is this something that she added, that she announced on Twitter recently, or
no? This is something I saw someone make the connection. I'm like, well, how's that the same? And they started breaking through it. And I went, holy,
this is identical.
Because she's done all kinds of stuff about them not having toilets in Hogwarts and
what? No, they do.
Characters gay.
That's where.
They didn't.
They
do now,
Myrtle or
but they
whatever
didn't.
it was.
But they didn't.
Oh, okay.
She just is constant. It's like she's trying to stay valid, so she just says stuff on Twitter.
She doesn't have to stay valid.
By the way, guys, did you know that? Did you know that they don't eat burritos because of the diarrhea problem? Because I don't know. She constantly adds weird shit
for diarrhea.
What kind of ass have problems with burritos? What is wrong with your digestive
English
system?
people?
Yeah.
Have you had English food? It's not really spicy.
Exciting.
No,
it's beans on toast.
It takes more stomach to handle English food than it does friggin' Mexican food.
I don't know about that.
Milk toast is a way to describe a boring person, but also a food in England.
If you eat baked beans for breakfast and then somebody's like, "Here, eat these chilies," I feel like you'd have an issue.
Yeah, I think so. So Ryan,
they did own India, and they've got curry and all that stuff there.
That's true.
That's true. So Ryan Kleckner, what else, man? Mayday Safety. We got the books. You got the advanced book underway.
Rocket FFL's ATF compliance course is up and ready now. And to everyone that pre-ordered it and then was complaining that it wasn't ready yet, be happy because you got it for $20 and right now it's $200, and I'm trying to raise the price next week.
Okay. Note to self: sign up for the compliance course.
Well, it's because it grew and grew and grew, and I just start putting every bit of advice I give my clients in there. So I hear people. The part that pisses me off the most is they say for Rocket FFL, that's a scam. I'm like, hold on, not a scam. You don't want it, don't buy it. If it's not necessary for you, great, don't get it. Driver's ed may not have been necessary for you. You don't need driver's ed to get your driver's license. But if you thought it was helpful to get some advice, then come get it. The ATF compliance course, on the other hand, I'm essentially replacing myself as an attorney. So it's one of those things. I'd almost rather you didn't take it if I wanted to get money. Let you get in trouble, and then I'll charge you Suburbans to get out of trouble. That's a lot easier for me than to do it. So it just, as it grew and grew and grew, I realized, you know what? This is just so much easier to keep this up to date. I walk people through how to get marking variances for marking guns and how to report lost and stolen guns and how to do audits and on and on and on and on. So that's pretty boring to most people, but to some people,
trust me, you don't have to do you don't have to do an audit. They'll come do it on their own.
That's true.
The thing is that
whether you want to or not,
when those people show up with the little IDs clipped onto their shirts and they have the clipboards and stuff, and they're like, "We're from the ATF. We would like to do an audit." Then you're going to be like, "Oh God, I wish I'd done audits."
Yup. Well, I actually saw that you released it, and it's actually pretty funny because I follow most of the stuff that Ryan does online. So like he would make a post. He's like, "Man, what a great Tuesday. I had a great cheeseburger for lunch." And everyone's like, "What about the compliance follow-on course?"
What about the advanced book?
What about the advanced book?
I decided the compliance course I could finish sooner. So that was a few weeks of mostly sleepless nights, kid you not, for the past few weeks. Just getting most of that done. And it'll never be done. I'm always going to update it. So it's a subscription. So it's always going to be updated with whatever's new, whatever the rulings are, stuff like that. I mean, you could be amazed at what I have to argue or fight with in front of the ATF. Every time something new comes up with the client, I just add it in the course so you have it there as a resource for you.
That's pretty handy.
That's 1% of you at the most would even be interested in that. If you need it, it's there. If not, no worries.
Yeah. So, Sean, you only follow what Ryan does online?
Yeah, I don't follow him like in real life. That would be creepy.
Yeah, totally creepy.
Yeah, so Rocket FFL, Rocket CCW, Mayday Safety, the book, stuff like that. Yeah, I stay busy, but I love it.
It is. It's pretty awesome. You going to stick around with us for a bit?
Hell yes. Does a one-legged duck swim in a circle?
Probably. Remind everyone, where can they find all that? You've got like one place that has everything, right?
RyanKleckner.com.
RyanKleckner.com. My favorite URL and my homepage. But wait, actually, there's something that's missing that we didn't talk about, and that's Gun University.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm sorry. That's where I put the article for the new MRED I got to check out.
Yeah, and there's actually, so if you haven't checked that out, go check that out, because it's like I see some stuff, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and then I'll see something like the next day that there's something about barrels recently.
Yeah, I'm starting. So the problem with Gun University is it's one of those projects that I'm just kind of doing from the seat of my pants, and I shouldn't, because it doesn't look the way I want it to look. It doesn't have all the information I want it to look like, but I know if I always wait forever, it's not going to get done. So I just throw stuff up there. So the barrels, I already love the Faxon pencil barrels for super lightweight builds.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I realized as I was talking to somebody, they're like, well, what about a proof barrel? I'm like, proof barrels are cool, but you can expect 2 out of 5 of them to be accurate. The rest are just okay.
Right.
And
shots fired.
No, that 2 out of 5 as actual testing I've seen over lots and lots of those barrels. They're good barrels, but I'm talking if you do like a precision barrel. Shots fired,
but no impact.
So I was talking
no impact, no idea.
And you had to go look on Faxon's website, and they had like 1.35 pounds. I'm like, all right, now let's go look at Proofs. Well, you had to go to Proof's website and then click through to their products, and it said 1 pound, 11 ounces. And you're like, I got to convert ounces to fractions of a pound or decimals of a pound. And that's when it hit me. Why is there no simple list that's an easily searchable database, not just like a spreadsheet, a list of all these. I'm like, I'm going to make it. So I started going crazy adding all these. So you can go to gununiversity.com and you can go to the barrel breakdown and you can go into filtering and you can say, I only want 16-inch barrels and longer because you don't want a pistol or an SBR in 223. And you can select what you want and the list narrows itself down and you can filter it by weight or by price. And I put a link to all the best prices and
that's
knock
pretty
yourself
cool.
out.
Yeah.
It's free. Go use it.
That is awesome.
Do you have any plans to do the same thing for like handguards or similar accessories?
Yeah. So not only that, I'm not only building the entire database out, but I'm really excited. I shouldn't tell you guys this, but I'm excited about. I'm doing the math on cost per ounce.
Oh,
damn.
Jesus!
So I'm taking a standard M4, so like a car M4 barrel, for example. And then I'm breaking down any barrel that's lighter than a military cut government contour barrel. Okay. And then I'm doing columns on the price above and beyond the mil-spec barrel, the ounce savings below the mil-spec barrel, how much money those ounces saved you. And then I'm even doing efficiency calculations on taking the ounces with the inverse of the dollars to see which is the most efficient. So you can actually, from one spreadsheet, if you want to save weight on your AR, I show you that it actually might make sense to get lighter takedown pins, which we all probably would laugh at, buying like a titanium takedown pin to make your AR lighter. I mean, obviously the barrel is a bigger way to save weight. Well, no, the best way is to go to the cheapest ounces first. And so you can actually jump through that and buy the cheapest ounce savings as you go.
Man, I'd never thought about that. So what you're saying is that, like, say there is a 2 ounce difference between these two barrels, but there's a $60 cost. But if you can go buy the titanium pins that save you that same amount of weight for $30, that's a more efficient or cost-effective way.
Right. It's like paying off debt. You have a bunch of debts. You pay off the highest interest debt first, no matter how big the balance is, because that's the biggest impact you can have. And then I'm doing math on the further away the weight is from you, the more effect it has versus the weight in your shoulder.
Damn.
So the muzzle's different. So now you can go in there and say, you know what? I want to cut 2 pounds off my AR. I can show you the cheapest 2 pounds on an AR.
Oh, I think I found him.
What?
Savage is like, buy everything from eBay.
Yeah.
I thought Savage was the cheapest part of an AR.
That's actually pretty true.
No, just his ideas.
Yeah. All right, that is awesome. Gun University, or find everything at ryankleckner.com. Let's go ahead and hear from Patriot Patch Company as soon as I find the thing that. Patch of the Month Club is awesome. Check out Patch of the Month Club at patriotpatch.co. Coupon code WLS gets you 10% off. And they sponsor our entire giveaway segment. So we've got 5 companies doing giveaways right now. We've got the Patriot Patch Company, 10 Oz Tactical Group. We've got Black Rhino Concealment, Stuck Knot Customs, and Blue Alpha Gear. Aaron, by the way, I heard that you're not keeping very good track of the Blue Alpha Gear giveaways.
Why? What?
Yeah, like not figuring out what belt.
Well, it goes back and forth. So whatever last week was, it's the opposite this week. I mean, how hard is it to keep track of that?
It would be useful if you told Kurt that.
Well, he's the one sending them out. I would assume he would have known. I mean, right?
You can enter to win everything at welikeshooting.com/giveaway, and that's got all of it. You can enter to win everything from one. Speaking of acceptable accuracy, Nick just said he's going to go urinate, so I think we're good, though. Anyway, welikeshooting.com/giveaway. Check out the Patriot Patch Company at patriotpatch.co. And let's go ahead and get into some gear chat.
Now it's time for Gear Chat. Stuff that we have, stuff that we want, and stuff that we need. Brought to you by the award-winning Des Tactical Arms.
All right, so you know Des Tactical. Go check them out, destactical.com. The WLS lowers and dust covers, and going to do 308 soon as well. So go find all of that. Des Tactical, use coupon code WLS Patron, and that gets you 10% off, whether it's a full rifle or the parts to build your own. And you know what? Let's start off with Aaron.
Oh, that's me.
You always wanted to be first, buddy.
It's a me. It's a me, Mario. All right, so I want to talk about, I got a Magpul bipod in from Brown Nels.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't pay for it, just so if everyone's wondering. I did not use my own money to purchase this item. So I was surprised, actually, I was surprised at the lack of options that come available on this. I'm used to spring-loaded, spring-assisted for putting them up and bringing them down. This is set up on a detent system, so when you move it forward or backwards, closed or open, depending on how you like to refer to it as, a detent system where it actually just, like on a car door, it closes and opens that way, basically. So I was really surprised. No spring assist when you make it higher or lower. It just, to me, I mean, look, it looks really cool. It looks sleek. It's just 0 bells, 0 whistles all the way around.
Ryan,
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the price tag is value added for. I don't think you're getting value if it's a cost you're paying.
Interesting. Ryan, have you used these?
I have used these.
What are your thoughts?
They seem like such a great potential product, but I think they kind of suck.
Interesting.
Right, so I'm not the only one. I mean, it looks really nice on my rifle, but
there's a lot of Magpul things that are great. There really is, but these aren't there yet. I used them on. Did 2 elk hunts last year, and I went to Wyoming, and I used these on an AR-10, and they look cool. They seem great, but like you're saying, Aaron, the detents, they have 2 little like half circles cut out of a piece of metal, so that when you press the detent, it allows it to slide to the next one. Why they didn't chamfer the first one so that you could just yank it and have it snap down is beyond me. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to lock a bipod closed.
Right.
Lock it open, got it. But you should just be able to yank it down. They didn't do that. And the other is there's too much play in them. Anytime I get on the rifle will sit there and wiggle back and forth a couple inches in any direction until you found the edge of the play for the bipod to even make your rifle stable. I wanted them to be good so bad, but no.
Don't you feel like there should be a spring assist too when you press the button for them to extend?
No.
You don't like that idea?
We differ on that one, but
okay.
The slack is too much.
Yeah. I mean, on the what you're talking about, like lock and closed, they're kind of going off of like the Atlas setup, which is very similar. Like it also locks closed. You got to hit the button to unlock
and
that.
And it should also have that chamfer.
It makes
because it's got like that little half moon shape, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
right.
D10%. There's no reason that the top one isn't angled at the bottom so that you could just yank the bipod out of that position.
I mean, I guess it's never really bothered me before. I just don't get why you would lock it
closed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
I never thought of that.
If it is set up like that, potentially you could like jostle the thing and have it pop out, and it'd be a nuisance while you're carrying it.
Absolutely.
But it would only be a nuisance.
I'm happy with that nuisance. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
So my problem is
this vision. I have this vision in my head. You got it slung on your shoulder like you're hunting in the woods, and it like hits a tree branch, and that just like under spring pressure, like smacks you right on top of the.
That would be fun.
Harris bipod legs, people like to pick on them, but I even tie a piece of 550 cord between the bipod legs so that when you fold them up, there's a loop, and you can just grab the loop and yank it, and both bipod legs pop down. You can use them. So the Atlas and these Magpuls seem cool until you decide, I got to take a shot right now, and watch how long you're sitting there fiddling with bipod legs trying to get them into position. I don't know. It's just not for me. I think Magpul makes a lot of cool stuff. Not those.
So it was kind of funny because I've got a couple of these, and I did notice the play that you're talking about until you like find where it sits, and then they're reasonably sturdy. But when I actually took these, I was in Louisiana doing some training and some video content for Barrel Gang, and they gave us a rifle with Magpul bipod on it, and I was like, oh, I've got one of these. I hate it already. So I literally spent 2 days trying to break it as like literally just dropping my full body weight down, front loading that bipod into the ground and letting my full body weight come down on it. And they never broke, which gave me a little bit more faith in them. Like I definitely understand the criticisms, but I guess I never even I never thought about the locking it closed. What were you going to say?
Just because it didn't break doesn't make it good, right? I mean,
true.
We could tie a rock to your rifle and the rock won't break, but it's not a good bipod.
That's true. It made it better than I thought they were.
It's so close. It's so close to being a good product. So the reason, Aaron, I don't like the spring-loaded is also I don't like the bipods dictating how tall they need to be or having to close them when they're spring-loaded. I'm all about getting the gun up and running as fast as possible, and if I need to, getting up and moving as fast as possible. And I just like the simplicity of it, and I'm actually frustrated that they're not better because I was excited for them.
What bipod do you recommend in the $100 price range?
I use the Harris bipods all day.
The Harris?
Matter of fact, the ASR contract for SOCOM, Special Operations Command, the newest, greatest, latest gun, they insisted that it had Harris bipods on it. So the standard MRAD will come with Atlas bipods. The ASR version has Harris bipods on it because they just work. They snap down, they snap up, and you're done.
That actually kind of surprises me because I've seen a decent number of broken legs on the Harris bipods.
Well, you shouldn't be shooting off bipods either, in my opinion. But
is it just me or is Ryan shrinking?
Rifle.
Are you getting more and more comfortable, Ryan?
He is.
He's wishing more and more that he wasn't on the show. He's just going down farther and farther.
Get comfy, Ryan.
Thanks
it's fine.
for calling that out, Aaron. Now I'm all self-conscious.
I do what I can.
That's great. All right, so Ryan likes Harris. Aaron doesn't like Magpul.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't. It looks nice. I just wouldn't pay for that. I don't think the price is right for it.
You can send me yours, Aaron. I'll take it.
All right, just send me one of yours. I mean, I don't want to be without a bipod.
I'm pretty sure I have like a Chinese one I can send you.
All right. Yeah. We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
Right. Fair enough.
Those are called UTG.
I don't think it's even UTG. I think it's worse than that.
Mine's like Ferris.
All I'm saying is I got drunk and got on eBay one night.
Yeah,
it's like my
bipod
ACOG
legs
with 2 Gs.
Your bipod legs are a kickstand for your rifle.
It's so true. They are.
It holds your rifle off the ground when you don't want to. Other than that, if you can shoot off a bag, trust me, you guys will shoot better off a bag.
Definitely. All right. The things I wanted to talk about were I took a Blade Tactics seminar or class, not this weekend that just passed, but the weekend before that from Ronin Tactics. And it's something that I've been wanting to kind of get into, but I'm really leery about that stuff because I don't want to learn how to like do a kata with a knife or anything like that. I literally wanted to go to a place and have them show me that if I ever had to defend myself with a knife, for someone who was trying to kill me, how to kill them first. And I really avoided stuff. But then Ronin Tactics and 2 Lamb. Ryan, do you know him?
I don't.
I just assume all you guys know each other.
Whoa. What do you mean you guys?
Rangers.
Rangers give the best Rangers, just saying.
Exactly. Anyway, so I went to 2 Lamb's class. It was here in Colorado Springs, and I've got actually one this coming weekend, a follow-on that one. And again, I've been avoiding stuff like this because I really want to find the right thing. So I got there, and it was in a martial arts like dojo, and people were bowing, and I was like, this is not what I wanted. And I'm standing on the mats wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and there's like a couple dudes like wearing like sports pants, and I was like, man, I really but I'm here, so I already paid for it, so I might as well do it. And then 2 comes out, and it proceeds to be like the best 3 hours that I can think of in the last few months, just because he teaches exactly what I wanted to find. There's not a whole lot of there's no kata or anything else like that. He's just teaching us actual skills, how to fight with a knife. And his experience, the experience like oozes off of him because he's thought about things. And I really, when I'm looking for an instructor, I want someone who not only can teach me the skill, but they can tell me why this is the best way to do it, and they can compare it to all different kinds of skills and all different kinds of teachings and things like that, and tell me why this is the best way. And whether I know that it's actually true or not doesn't really matter because he sold me 100%. So I thought it was really super valuable. I think he's a great instructor, and I can't wait to actually go to the one next weekend, even though I'm still like bruised and sore because he decided to demo on me at one point. And when he demos, there's no like half speed or half power or anything like that. And he probably was only putting about
He goes
20.
hard.
He goes hard to the paint. And just me up. And it was super valuable. The one thing is my sparring partner, because mostly like he did lecture, he did demonstrate and stuff like that. But we spent a load of time actually just kind of doing the skills over and over and over again. but I swear to God, it was like Michael J. Fox was my partner. I was like, I'm f***ing getting stabbed in the face. I guarantee it. We were only using wood knives, but I guarantee I'm getting stabbed. Now, Jeremy said that they did a week of knife fighting in the Marine Corps. Now, Ryan, have you done any of this stuff?
Knife fighting? Yeah, but our week of knife fighting was WEAK. So, I mean,
that's what I
mean. I mean, so yeah, you do like basic knife fighting stuff. I mean, I'm already getting older, and when we did knife fighting, it was pretty basic stuff. We were on the cutting edge of jiu-jitsu. We did a lot of Gracieing. Coolest event for me at 2019 SHOT Show was doing a podcast with Hoist Gracie.
Oh, nice.
And I walked around telling everybody, I'm like, I hung out with Hoist Gracie for an hour, and nobody knew who I was talking about, and it drove me nuts. So no, the knife fighting we did was when you get in a knife fight, it's too cold to fight with a knife, shoot them instead. So or
Totally.
too hot. It's either too cold or too hot to knife fight, shoot them. But no, we didn't really get any cool high speed. Like even pistol work, we didn't work with pistols.
You know what I had a staff sergeant tell me once about bayonet fighting.
What?
He goes, if I ever hear the words "fix bayonet" in combat, I'm going to shoot whoever said that. Get on the radio and say, "Somebody give me more ammo."
Exactly right.
That was his feelings on bayonet fighting.
It makes a lot of sense, but like, I mean, what about? I don't know. I just thought it was a skill that might be interesting to have, and I've been practicing a bit. I think that there's some value to it because I'm practicing specific things, and as long as someone steps in from my left to my right and tries to stab directly at my throat, like I'm gonna up. It's game over.
So I got a question for y'all. If you're trying to work with knife fighting, do you at least practice with your left hand? Because if you're going to be in a crowded area where a knife might work better than a gun, are you ready to be able to have the knife in your hand and still draw your pistol? And if that's the case, you need to be learning how to use a knife with your left hand, right?
Oh, did he just go full Voda?
100%, yeah. EDK, that EDK life.
I think he just went.
The roof is not going to shoot itself.
He just went snake. That's all.
Our entire thing with knife fighting was kind of the same thing with our hand-to-hand combat training, and it was at first, and that was pretty much it. If you have a knife in your hand, stab them with it very quickly in a part of the body that will kill them quickly. Don't bounder about it. Stab them in the neck. Move on to the next one.
I mean, I watched Rebel Without a Cause, so I'm pretty sure I have a good idea of how a knife fight works.
Didn't they stab with some tires? That was the only thing that got stabbed in that whole movie.
No, there's a knife fight.
Roadhouse.
Somebody got stabbed in the butt because it was.
Wait, what? What? Was it Turkish Revenge going on? I don't know what the was that Midnight Express?
I don't even know.
Jeremy's right. Speed, surprise, and violence of action wins a fight.
That's exactly.
Whether you've got brass knuckles or a knife or a rock or a baseball bat or a gun, it's attack first, attack with all the energy and vigor you possibly can now, like you're the third monkey on the ark, and you'll survive.
100% agree. He even talks about that. And it was kind of funny.
Monkeys and arcs?
No, well, maybe, but yeah,
Ark of the Covenant.
Speed, surprise, and violence of action, 100%. And look, like if someone's trying to kill me, 90% of the time I have a gun in my waistband, I'm going to try to kill them with my gun. That's just plain and simple. But I thought it might be interesting. It was $68 for like a 3-hour seminar, and we spent most of that kind of like just sparring and kind of practicing and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting. Nick, Jeremy, Savage, have you guys taken any like civilian level knife stuff?
I would like to.
I mean, I took karate back in the day, and we learned how to defend against a knife. But I mean, that was like 12 years ago for me.
I did some
First step to defending against a knife.
Get a gun. Get a gun.
Or
Indiana Jones that.
Exactly.
Or resign yourself to the fact that you're going to be bleeding. That's what you do when you decide to engage in a knife fight. Go, I'm going to need stitches after this.
Like all the stitches, yes. So anyway, I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. I'm glad I did it. I kind of was having second thoughts. I was like, I don't think I want to go. And finally I was like, I already paid for it. I might as well go. And it ended up being pretty good.
Do you guys go as far to think about if you're going to block a knife with the back side of your forearm or the front side of your forearm?
Always the back side. I think about that because of the med class that I teach is where we talk about the anatomy and where the blood vessels and arteries are closer to the skin. And when you kind of go into the fetal position, we do that because it's nature's armor and all the important stuff is on the inside there.
In addition to all the blood vessels and stuff, that's also where your tendons are that grip things. You get cut on the back of your forearm, you can't open your hand. But you get cut on the front side of the inside, you can't grip anything. So you could take a cut on the back and not be able to let go of your gun. But you get cut on the inside, you can't hold on to your gun.
And he actually taught us that in the knife class. He's like, one of the first places you go for is right there because whatever weapon they have, they no longer can hold.
So I've seen the knife stuff as less like, I guess I've thought of it as less as I will use this in conjunction to a firearm or, like along with, but more like I'm in an area where maybe I can't have a firearm, but I can have a pocket knife or a small fixed blade knife or, it's more of a, for whatever reason, I can't have a gun, so I have this knife. And, I carry a knife every day just as a utility thing, but it certainly helps to be able to use it in an emergency if you need to.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so then the next thing I wanted to talk about was I went to Georgia, taught a med class. It was awesome. It was fun. Thanks to Blue Alpha Gear for hosting that. Seriously, it was just like a great time the entire weekend. Got to see the Blue Alpha Gear operation, and that was pretty damn cool. And yeah, that's pretty much all about that. But the next thing I want to talk about is the SIG P365. We just released our first 100 rounds. So we got the P365 in the very, very, very beginning, like literally right after they announced them. And it was horrible. We sent it back and they replaced like everything in it and got it back. And it was better, but still pretty susceptible to like limp wristing and all kinds of other things. But it kind of buried the idea in me that I was like, someday this might be like the best concealed carry handgun in the universe because it holds 12+1 with the extended magazine, and it's tiny and it feels good in your hand. There's so many great things about it. So about a year later, I saw that it was in stock on brownells.com, and I went there and I was like, yep, I'm gonna pick one up. So I got the P365 sent here. And we took it out maybe 2 weeks ago and recorded some footage, just the first 100 rounds. I got to say, man, like so far, bless you. So far, it's 100% better. I love that gun. It's like so freaking tiny. I don't even understand how they do it. We compared it to the Mossberg MC1 and the Glock 43. And
somebody's representing.
Yep. Ryan's got that P365 right now in his waistband. Dude, I'm like, I hope that it continues to shoot well because we shot everything through it. We got it covered in like dish soap, and it was awesome. Ryan, I know you've kind of loved him since the very beginning.
I love the look Ryan just gave you when you said dish soap. He was like,
"What?" You've loved him since the get-go, Ryan.
True, but that's because maybe I was lucky enough to have one that just worked. If I would have had the one that you had, I would not have been happy with him either.
Yeah.
And man. So the one I have works. Some of the best groups. I don't understand how I'm more accurate with the 365 than I am with a full-size gun.
I remember we were hanging out at SHOT Show, and you'd gotten to go out and shoot the SIG stuff, and we'd missed that.
Yeah.
And I remember you coming back and raving about it and being so envious and jealous, so we went and looked at it at the SIG booth. And then Aaron dropped the one and put a huge scratch on it at their booth.
It happens.
Yeah.
Was that the range day when we locked somebody in the bathroom? Ryan, you have a funny story about that range day, don't you?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
oh my god! I will never forget that.
I also remember Ryan out shooting all of us at that range day with with an LCR.
Yes.
What were you guys shooting? The LCR?
Yeah.
I think we were shooting the GP 100.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. But yeah, so anyway, the SIG P365, we just put out a video today of our first 100 rounds. And man,
how's the striker or drag going for you guys?
So I looked at some brass from it, and I didn't really see any. I didn't see any. Like
it's every one of mine is bad. I don't know if bad's the right word. It's pronounced.
It's there.
It's present.
So much so that I have some primer material being like moved to the edge of like where the case is on all my cartridges. Now it's never been a problem for me. I'm at least 1,000 rounds into mine. Every single one of them, the striker drags. I don't know if that's an actual problem or a perceived problem, but
I saw some oblong primer strikes, but it wasn't like the terrible drag like I've seen other people talk about. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to keep shooting and see what happens. But I mean, the danger with that, right, is that it weakens the firing pin eventually, or the striker.
Yeah, it breaks the tip of it off. That's a huge danger. The problem with that is you never know it's a problem until it's a problem.
Exactly.
It scares me.
You go to use it, and suddenly now.
I wish they did what Glock did. You know, Glock, the striker has the like angle shape to it.
Yes.
They did that on purpose, so that because the Glock has the same exact problem, is that the striker doesn't automatically retract. So the striker is still sticking out when the gun starts to extract and eject the casing. But because the striker's angled, when the casing starts to slide, it pops the striker back for you. That's why it's angled. So I wish they just did that same angle design so it pushes it back, but oh well, I'm not a gun designer.
So what you're saying is we should take the firing pin or the striker from our 365
and just grind it.
And just grind it into a point.
You don't even need to grind it. You just put the Glock striker in.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There
you go.
Fit is a function of velocity. You get it going fast enough and then slide, it'll work.
I love it. All right, so I'm gonna carry it. I'm gonna carry the 365, and I guess it's good that I've been taking knife classes just in case my striker breaks.
Have you shot a group with it? Just tried to make like a bullseye group with it? See how you do?
Yeah, it's super accurate. Like it feels really good in my hands. Like with the extended magazine, the other one I'm not so in love with, but with the 12+1. Man, I'm accurate with it. And Nick,
so what do you guys think about the 43X? Was it good enough to catch up with the 365, or was it too short?
I don't like the 43X.
I don't.
Yeah, you've got the longer grip on it, which makes it a little harder to conceal. It's fat. I mean, it's a little fatter than the 365, if I recall correctly.
It was, yeah, a little bit.
I'm not real impressed with the 43X. The Glock 48, I think it's the 48, right? That's the longer slide.
Yeah, it's essentially the 19S.
Yeah, that interests me ever so slightly more, just because my girlfriend has tiny hands, and that is a gun that actually fits in her hand and has a reasonable capacity.
Well, that means then the 43X fits in her hands too. It's the exact same frame.
Yes, but you get the longer sight radius, and I'm not going to be able to get her to conceal carry the thing, so the size of it doesn't matter, you know.
I think they're okay. If you're a company that you're playing like Pepsi and Coke back and forth at each other, if SIG comes out the 365 and squashes you, when you come back, you better come back with something big. And you don't come back with something not quite as good.
They came back with something big, all right.
They did.
Boom.
Let's see.
I actually really like the 48 for the thing that Nick just said, hand size. Not mine, but I've found a lot of smaller females with very tiny hands. That is one gun in a decent size frame that they can actually, all these double stacks. They're doesn't matter. 229, XD, Smith, Glock. None of them fit their hands. But that Glock 48 is nice and slim. And if you got little whopper hands, I can't hold this whopper. That Glock 48's a nice choice.
Yeah, and also they make that 48 look huge.
All right, that'll do. Jeremy,
polite laughter.
Jeremy, Black Rhino concealment.
Yeah, I got a new holster for my new carry gun.
What's your new carry gun?
It's an FNX 45 tactical.
I was making fun of him before the show. I was like, FUD Central over here.
You.
Carrying the 45 ACP.
I mean, not because like 2 World Wars or anything, just because I like the
2 World Wars.
I like the FNX 9. I like the FNX 9s.
Yeah.
But the threaded barrel with the suppressor heights. I got a list. They're all double stacked 45s with hammers. I got a list.
The FNX 45 is a cool gun.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yep.
So like you can keep your little pansy ass 365s down in your pants at your tininess, but
12+1, Jeremy. 12+1.
This is 15.
So my favorite part of right now is Ryan's face the whole time Jeremy was talking.
What?
You were just incredulous, I think, is the word I would use to describe it.
I think you're reading my face wrong. I might respect Jeremy's opinion the most, I think, out of this panel.
Well, that's probably a good idea.
Hey, believe it or not, we agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm saying, I carried a 45 for a long time.
So did I, actually.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I get that it won 2 world wars, but it didn't do a whole lot of good in Vietnam. But I will.
We don't talk about that.
I just like the fact that Jeremy carries like the biggest guns ever every single day. But I mean, when you own a gun range, that's your prerogative.
Yeah, I mean, literally,
what this baby?
concealed carry is. Oh, there you go.
What is?
That looks like
safe, semi.
Oh, shut the up.
What?
Hey, I got a few that do that too.
Are any of yours an MP?
He must have taken Rocket FFL.
I've honestly thought about concealed carrying my full auto Glock.
You should.
You have one of those. You should.
I would just hope that I get just somebody just.
So, Ryan,
have you guys seen this thing at all? The CGS Cube?
I heard you talk about it.
I want to know what you guys think about it.
It looks cool.
It's cute.
It looks cool. CGS is a good company. I don't know. Just don't know if you guys had any time with it.
There's a company that makes a comp like that for the FNX 45 Tactical, and it actually like mates up with the lines on the gun and everything. Mm-hmm. I thought about getting it and trying it, but they're pretty pricey. What the hell's the name of that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that one looks pretty cool, Ryan. It's like it's kind of like a compensator inside of a
my favorite thing they did is this little piece that you guys can see that are following along. The inner part screws onto the barrel, and it just indexes wherever it indexes. It doesn't matter the orientation. And then the comp just goes on, and it can be whatever it wants to be. And there's a nut on the end that then tightens.
Oh.
So it's cool. Perfectly indexed no matter what.
So it's got a jam nut, basically.
Its own jam nut.
Yeah. This is a left-hand thread barrel, and they thought enough ahead to have like the end nut here, left-hand thread, so you don't loosen it when you tighten it up. Now, the downside, I mean, it looks cool. It's perfectly indexed. It doesn't compensate as well as like a race or a competition brake, because the holes I think are too small in there to really get a lot of gas out. I think it's good enough for what it is. I think they did a good job with it. But if you're looking for like ultimate flat shooting, it may not be it. But looking for quality, yeah, I'm happy with it so far.
It looks good. It looks sexy too.
Well, it's because I'm holding it.
So let's get back real quick to when you said safe, semi, and full auto. For the people who are listening, what the hell did you have in your hands?
This is an MP5. It's a clone. So I'm trying to like cross-identify with the pores.
Okay, because I was like, wait, is that a real MP5 or
is that Zenith?
No, this is Brethren Armament.
Oh, okay. We had them on, the roller lock guys.
Yes. So it's an MP5 clone and full auto. So it was one of those shameless things that I just made a complete plug on Instagram for Rocket FFL. I start the video of me just dumping a 30-round mag, and I look at the camera like, hey, you can have machine guns one of 3 ways. Join the military, become a cop, or get your FFL. And here's how you can do it. And then I just dump another magazine, which I said is shameless, but
sold.
That's the reason I have this right now is because I went FFL.
It's pretty awesome.
What you need to do is you could be like, for $30,000.
So you get to expense that thing as a marketing expense.
Absolutely, yeah. I without a doubt, all my ammo and guns are
expense everything.
Yes, that's epic. So,
so I mean, you still got to do some paperwork. It's still a mess. You still got to get either Clio letters or problems. But there's no way for a non-FFL to have this machine gun. And I have a 308 from them, full auto, in my safe. I mean.
Okay,
yeah, it's not for everybody, but if you like full auto,
no, you got to get a class 2 and just make them.
I have a class 2. Yeah, it's just easier to get this one than it was to make one.
True. Now, Jeremy, you were going to tell us about a holster.
Yeah. Well, I got a Black Rhino concealment holster for my FNX 45 Tactical,
and it's got the marine.
Yeah, it's got the Marine Corps logo on it. It's awesome. I like it. Works good.
There you go. I love it. Jeremy, refresh your window. You're echoing.
Your face needs refreshed with a fist.
See, I scared him and he left.
That's exactly what happened.
Exactly. Savage 1R, what's your product?
Oh, this is
here we go.
Oh, I know. You know it's been coming.
I know.
I'm.
Okay.
Oh God.
I'm
I've
out.
literally been waiting for this gun for years, probably since it's been announced. So, if I had the option to design a next generation platform of firearm, and on design specs alone, on paper, I would have to say that this fits all of my check marks. This here is the Keltec RDB-S. It's not the standard RDB that has the pistol grip and is a little bit heavier and has a bulkier forend. This is the thinner, slimmer model. This is a bullpup that, with the stock collapsed, is 25 inches long, which is crazy. When it's extended, it comes out to over the 26 inches legal length. It's completely ambidextrous. You have your bolt release back here on the back is fully ambidextrous on both sides. You have magazine releases on both sides over here. Your charging handle, which is up front, can be switched over to the other side. What I think now, Keltec, they're great at making really cool designs. They suck at production. They absolutely suck at production rates. Like, you can't find these things frickin' anywhere, and I definitely had to spend some money and kiss some ass to get hold of this one. Sean knows what that was like.
Yeah, Sean was involved in all of that for some reason.
Yeah. So one of the cool things Keltec did is the upper part here is actually the registered receiver. And this gun breaks down into 3 or 4 different parts. So this lower part here that has the magazine well and the trigger can be removed and replaced with the pistol grip version. The forend is super easy to remove. There's one pin holding this forend on, and then there's a lug back here that it locks into. And then in my Instagram post, I had a picture of this with an AR magazine that's formatted that, it's a 7.62x39 magazine. I was kind of half joking, but the way that Keltec designed this is that it should be stupid simple to swap calibers. So when you pop the 2 pins in this back receiver here and open it up, the barrel comes out as well as the bolt carrier group assembly, which is actually a riff on their older SU-16 bolt carriers design. The barrel has the gas tube and the rail up on top, and literally all you would have to do to change calibers on this would have just get another barrel with this rail attached and change out the bolt face on this thing. So they currently only have them in 5.56. They've shown versions that have 6.5 Grendel, which is almost exactly the same dimensions on the bolt face as the 7.62x39, which would lend credence to the fact that it would be super easy to change this to a 7.62x39, a 6.5 Creedmoor, or basically just anything that will fit into a Stanag magazine. I mean, could you imagine this thing in the barrel fits into these lugs that hold on the rail, and it's only a certain thickness wide. I'm not sure you could actually get it to be like 458 SOCOM wide, but this thing could handle quite a lot of different caliber conversions. I don't know what the accuracy on this model is. I haven't got a chance to shoot it yet, so I don't know what that or the reliability is. But from a design standpoint, this thing is insane. Oh, and the best part about it is everybody about triggers on bullpups. I measured this morning. First of all, it's a 2-stage, but it's a 2-stage 2-pound trigger, and it just goes. Like, you don't have to put any effort into it. And the hammer on this thing is like Thor's hammer. Like, it is a massive amount of force behind that hammer. So I don't think you're gonna have to worry about reliability as far as light primer strikes.
I can see there's a massive amount of rail space on there.
There's not a ton of rail space up here on this thing, and they've. I believe at the most recent SHOT Show, they showed a new forend that they were going to have that you could put onto these. Somebody out there already has one that's for sale. And again, I'm saying, third-party vendors, if you're out there, manufacturers, you can manufacture a bunch of different stuff for this thing that would be great. And obviously the first part to fix would be the forend.
The only problem with third-party vendors making those is
there's only so many out there. I know.
The production
I
level
know.
so low.
That's what sucks. But this has so much potential. And I think like Kel-Tec designed this thing to be like their platform of rifles for like the next 30 years, because you can literally sell millions of these things and just expand the product line based around this design.
I know you've wanted it forever. I'm glad you love it.
Yes, I love it very much, and thank you so much for helping me get through all that red tape to get a hold of the damn thing.
So you got your dream rifle and you put the biggest piece of light on it that you could find, or what?
This is not a piece of light. This is actually a pretty cool light. It's a large light, but it can do all the things. It goes 3 different brightness settings, and then it's got the flashy.
All right, for people that can't see and they're just listening to this,
Savage.
It's a chem light with a mirror behind it.
So Savage.
They make offset things so you can actually put the light on the side. Just saying.
I know, but I like having it be slim, because if it's off to the side, it's going to be able to grab on stuff. But here, in line with the barrel, I can look straight through the sight and light up what I'm looking at, and it's fairly intuitive.
You couldn't.
I want to catch crap for this, but I agree with Savage.
In this instance, yes.
Yes, I agree. But I wonder, Savage, could you not find a taller optic mount?
This is the one with
that's
the Holosun.
the appropriate height
if
optic
he had like
mount for that.
a magnified optic on there, though, he would need to move that light.
I wouldn't have light on there if I was going to have a magnified optic.
What's Ryan showing us? Let's see.
You guys have any experience with shields?
I have a shield, yeah.
What do you think about it?
I kind of like it, actually. I need to get a slide milled to put it on, but I used it on it was a Glock slide that I had it on originally.
So, yeah, Shield has the plate for, like, the Glock MOSs. That's what this is. And even the plate with it on the MOS is low enough that it co-witnesses with the factory junk plastic Glock sights.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
They have
So
a
low it
tiny
is.
footprint.
Yeah. They're my new favorite. I use the Shield now. It was giving me some fits in the middle, and I was losing a little bit of faith in it, but I'm back on board.
I thought you were handing that to me.
Whatever.
Yeah, but
So
I do
how
like
many
the
rounds
shield.
would you say you've got through that at this point?
Exactly 0, which is why I said I have not shot it yet. I don't know how accurate it's going to be. I don't know how reliable it's going to be. But I do know one knock against it does not take drum mags.
Okay, so
Well, one with you shooting it, it's not going to be very accurate.
so Ryan, how many rounds would you say you have through that optic?
Not very many. I don't know.
Okay.
In the hundreds, not the thousands.
Yeah, I think I had 200 through mine.
I have
before.
someone I trust a lot say that their battery mount broke. It's like the battery contact broke under the inertia of the battery.
I've heard some spotty stuff about them. So
So have I.
yeah, so I'm
Well, they're
interested to
pretty
see.
middle.
What do you
Kinda like, battery died sooner than it was supposed to on me for mine. Found out that's because I keep it on my desk most of the time by my window. And they said that the sunlight coming in, they think, was too bright for it, so it kept it on max power.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. Good question. I have not truly torture tested it, but I've been pretty happy with them for the cost and the size. It seems like they're the only ones that have a slim one now.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to send my 365 off to get milled for one. But for those that want a small one, they're the only ones that seem like they're making one narrow enough for the Glock 43X or for the 365 or stuff like that.
I was thinking about that. I was like, I've got that one. I was thinking about getting the 365, but man.
Yeah, I love the idea of having my Glock 43 cut for one, but I've also been hurt by red dots before, and you know. So I took the recommendation of a few friends and bought a Fastfire 3 and put it on a Glock 19, and it ran great for
Man,
what
you
it was
need
like
to get
4,000
rid
rounds
of those friends.
Right?
and then and then it broke.
Wait,
so,
was it me? It was not me. I'm kidding.
I feel like you did have some input.
Get the out
My
of here.
Fastfire 3
But-
on my Kimber 10mm, it works great.
Yeah. So yeah, the Fastfire's going back to the factory, and then that slide's gonna leave me, and I'll probably be looking to get some RMRs.
There you go.
So I don't like the whole idea of having extra plates like the MOS system because it's just more chances to break. But man, it sure saves having to commit to one platform. There's going to be a universal platform eventually, right? You guys remember a time like 15 years ago when it was like Sony memory sticks versus SD cards versus something else?
Unfortunately.
So that's where we're at right now with Red Dots. Eventually, we're going to get to a common pattern, but until we get there, I kind of like the idea of being able to have plates so I don't have to be married to one system. Why
use many part when few part do job?
Yes. Savage, have you drank your piss yet, or do you have to do that after you shoot it?
I've done that before I even got the rifle, honestly.
Okay. You were like, please send it. I'll drink my own pee. And they were like, prove it.
Video.
I kind of had to. It was a really grueling process.
Is there a belt fed mod for that thing?
I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, we're moving on.
Brought to you by Brownells.
Aaron,
we really need a truncated version of that song.
Why, do you feel sexy right now?
No, I feel uncomfortable. And I feel like if the song was like half as long, I wouldn't feel as uncomfortable twice as long. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean at all.
Okay,
I like it.
It's more uncomfortable the longer things are for you, Aaron?
That's why I choose doctors with very small fingers.
So I was wondering, actually, does Brownells have knives?
They do.
They do.
Oh, yeah. Lots of knives.
Yeah.
All kinds of knives. They even have tactical hatchets.
They do. Because, I'm all about knife fighting now, so...
Right. So do you see one that you like there?
I don't know. I don't really know anything about knives.
Your knife fighting class, was it fixed blade or what was that?
I don't know what's happening right now.
Were you was it a fixed blade or how'd that roll?
Yeah, they were fixed blades. We used wood knives because it's like the other guys where they give them a wood gun because he's irresponsible. That's kind of how we were. Yeah.
They should get those shock knives. That'd be great.
They're like, here's a wooden knife and one cartridge, like Barney Fife.
Yes. But yeah, they have knives. They have all kinds of stuff. Have you seen their big baller shootouts, like their newest marketing thing? It's like some basketball game. That's pretty funny.
I saw the like old school versus new school.
Yes.
But I didn't watch the video. I just saw old people and young, out of shape people. So I was like,
that's true. It was Aero Precision versus like Keith Ford and Steve.
Steve the stilt reloader?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was wasn't it Arrow versus like the Brownells retro?
Yes.
Retro lineup or whatever, or line?
Yes, it was. But I also noticed that right now they've got their titanium nitride finish bolt carrier group for $99.
Wait,
not bad. It's just like $10 more than that Magpul bipod.
No, it's actually $6 less.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, Brownells, check them out. The P365, I actually checked today, and it was in stock again. So right there with the night sights, $499.99 in stock. You can get that there. You can get everything at Brownells, and check out their deals kind of every day. They've got different stuff going on. Right now they got free shipping on anything over $49 using code VB5, but every single day pretty much. And once a week they have 10% like off your entire order and free shipping. So keep an eye out. Go check them out. Brownells.com.
So this is pretty cool. They have Klecker, not Kleckner, but Klecker knives and tools. And they have like a knife kit that's like a plastic injection molded kit that you can assemble yourself.
Assembled?
Then it's intended for kids. So, you can get together with like a kid and build a pocket knife for them that's plastic and won't like cut the out of them if they're not careful with it.
If it was Kleckner, I'd be in, but Klecker, I don't know.
It's $6.
I licensed my name to them, and they couldn't afford the full name.
They couldn't afford the N.
And by the way, for kids does not mean it's meant for being made with kids. Just
no, it says it's designed for children ages 7 and older.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't make it with them.
Well, I mean, why would you not?
For defending yourself against children.
But $6. I mean, that's pretty cool.
If they're made in China, they're made by children.
By children, for children.
Aaron, what's your topic tonight?
I was wondering what the world would look like without a 24-hour news cycle.
Well, I can literally tell you because I don't watch the news ever and really pay any attention to it. It's great.
But you're still influenced by it. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, I am. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think there'd be less animosity. I think the news cycle drives people against each other constantly by creating tribes, so to speak. I think without a news cycle, it runs 24 hours a day, competing for eyes. I think we'd be a happier place.
I think so too. I mean, I don't know. I think that we would have less look at these dogs that look like their owners, and more real news. The 24-hour news cycle means that they have to fill it with all kinds of nonsense instead of talking about stuff that's actually important. And
yeah, I'm sorry. And it becomes a huge opinion, editorials. It's basically what I would say 80% of the news cycle is just people editorializing the news versus actually just reporting on it.
Yeah, I think.
Well, and it's not even that. Then they're beholden to sponsors because they're trying to make money.
Brought to you by Brownells.
Yeah, but this isn't news. This is an opinion. This is
infotainment.
Yeah, this is an editorial.
Isn't even entertaining.
Shh! Don't tell them.
If they find out,
we're dead.
They're paying for this, dude. Shut up.
What do you think, Ryan?
I don't watch the news. I got to be on Tucker again last week, and I still haven't watched a full episode of his.
I mean, nobody watches the news, but we all have Facebook and we have news apps on our phones, and we follow.
Yeah, we're only
blogs.
showing the information that we believe already, right? It's
Right.
already,
Mostly.
It's constantly
Everything
reinforced
already
by
know.
our own beliefs.
Confirmation and availability bias.
I mean,
Nobody puts me on the news.
That's for the best.
I do try to.
It'd be like triple homicide.
Yeah.
Remember when we were in the Washington Post and Aaron was a 44-year-old Obama voter
Who writes children's books?
and
You guys did
graphic
great on that. That's awesome. You guys got a good plug in there. I think it was good. You guys did great.
Thanks. I agree.
Not all of us.
Well, he's going to be on here. Is it next week?
Yeah, we've got the author of that article. He'll be on April 1st.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to do some research.
Yeah. It'll be a fun conversation. I don't think he's a bad guy. I've got questions that I want answered, and we'll see how far he goes. But
can you handle the truth?
That sounds ominous. I've got questions.
no, I mean, this was originally for Rolling Stone, and it was presented as something completely different than what it actually ended up being. But what I think happened.
What?
I know it's so surprising. What I think happened is that when his editor from Rolling Stone moved on, he didn't have a place for the article. He found the Washington Post. He had to change the premise of the article a bit and add some things to get it published. And I think that he did that. And
So you're saying it would have been worse if it was in the Rolling Stone?
no, I think
Rolling Stone.
I think it would have been better.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh man, you have more faith in Rolling Stone than I do.
I have no faith in anyone, actually. So
I hear Rolling Stone and I go, ooh.
yeah, either way, it was fun. We were in the Washington Post, and I was hanging out with a dude wearing a neckerchief. Apparently,
I do remember him though.
I do too, but I wasn't hanging out with him.
The hipster that got mad about his picture being used in
Yes.
the article.
Yes.
And the article was about how all hipsters look alike, and back and forth, they figured out that it actually wasn't him in the picture at all.
Yes.
Thus proving that all hipsters look alike.
It was so great. But yeah, I really don't pay attention to news, Aaron, so I think maybe the 24-hour news cycle is lost on me, and I can tell you it's pretty glorious. I hear kind of the big stuff, but everything else I don't hear at all.
Yeah, I'm a news junkie, and I actually just turn it off after a while because I'm just sick of hearing the same news over and over, and I'm sick of people's opinions. Just give me what I just want the facts. I just want to know what's out there. I don't want your opinion. I don't want the spin. But again, they're feeding their masses from it just gets annoying after a while.
Yeah, what everybody has to realize is there's no such thing as actual real news anymore. What we have is the Ministry of Truth on the left, and we have the Ministry of Truth on the right. And each are
Double
trying to-
plus on good.
Yeah, and they're each trying to put out propaganda that's going to take both sides and move them as far apart as possible and get them as angry as possible at the other side so that they can have their hour of f***ing hate. I mean, we are living in 1984, except it's a duopoly instead of a monopoly.
Well, speaking of awful news. Oh, okay. I'll do my segue in a minute, Nick.
That was a fantastic segue. Thank you for interrupting that, Nick.
Speaking of
I'm sorry for having something to add to the discussion, Savage. Wow.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say what my routine used to be was, I had like a 20-minute drive to work. So on the way in the morning, I would listen to NPR and get a fairly left-wing opinion on things. And then on my way home in the afternoon, I would listen to Rush Limbaugh and get a fairly right-wing vision of things. And I felt like, between the two, I could sort of juggle and figure out it was somewhere.
Yeah, except you had to listen to NPR and Rush Limbaugh.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, that's so far on each side that any truth that would have been in there is completely lost.
Well, that's what was easily available to me on the radio.
Okay, now maybe this is my liberal bias here, but I don't think NPR is like
NPR isn't terrible. They're not bad. They're not as bad as like.
It's not terrible.
Wait. I don't think they're that bad either. But you don't think they're all the way left?
I mean, they are.
Help me out here. They're either in the middle or they're to the left. How are they to the right?
They are to the left.
Crazy to the left, but they're definitely to the left.
Aaron is to the left.
I mean, I still listen to NPR quite a bit, and I listen to a lot of.
I would consider them more news. Like they seem to be more journalists than most places be, but I think they're a little left.
You want to know the places that I actually get the news that I care about? Vice.
Yeah. God, Sean.
What?
What the? Yeah, all night. All night I'm smelling popcorn in here. God.
Guys, that's the one thing you remember from me from a year ago.
Oh, yeah. It's so bad that I can, literally be making popcorn and be like, hey, Tyler, do you smell popcorn? And she'll be like, you, Nick.
When was that conversation? Was it on this show?
Probably.
Or was it SHOT Show?
I think it was SHOT Show.
I think it was SHOT Show, actually. I think it was.
So do the listeners even know what you're talking about?
Whenever there's a clandestine fart.
No. I mean, you already have spoiled it, but I was going to say you should save it so that we can use it at meetups.
Well, no one's going to remember.
Yeah.
Because we're all drunk at meetups. And also now. So
that's how it works. We're drunk, so they won't remember. What
you say is, do you smell popcorn? And Ryan taught us this because everyone wants to smell popcorn, so they'll go, and then they'll get an entire
You walk into a group and have a nasty fart. Right about the time you think it's going to reach their nose, you say, hey, do you guys smell popcorn? And everyone in a circle of people, if you ask that, will all at once go and all sniff in, turn to smell popcorn, and you've guaranteed that they all just smelled your fart.
It's so true. Speaking
great filter system too, because once they sniff that fart out of the air, the air is clean. Yeah.
Speaking of farts,
well, if you're there.
From sea to shining sea, America gets its news from one source. Who gets his source from other sources? It's time for Going Ballistic with Savage 1R. Brought to you by Faxon Firearms.
All right. So we all know and love Faxon, and actually, Ryan even said earlier that the best barrel that his favorite barrel, I should say, for a lightweight AR build is the Faxon pencil barrel, which all of us, I think, pretty much have and love.
Have you guys seen the Faxon 14.5 inch with the already fixed break or flashlight around it?
I think we've all got multiples of them. I love them.
I love that they do that so much. I'm shocked that other people haven't done that.
I know, me too. Because so you just make the muzzle device small enough that the gas block will go over it, and then
you've got 16 inches overall. The problem is people compare weights too of the barrel only. They go, well, that barrel's this many pounds and ounces, like I figured out putting that chart together, and this other barrel's lighter. And you go, yeah, but the second you put a muzzle device on, you're adding weight. They figured it out. Good for them.
Yeah, yeah. I love the barrels. I love their M&P stuff. I love their new pistols. Man, I can't wait to get those in. They're coming soon. And just Faxon's been killing it for quite a while, and we definitely think you should go check them out. FaxonFirearms.com. Coupon code WLS10 gets you 10% off all day, every day. And Savage, do you smell popcorn?
I smell something.
I know Nick smells popcorn. Savage, take it away. First story is a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to transition from all happy fun times to this one, but I hopefully everyone's aware of what has happened in the world today. And last week, in fact, New Zealand experienced easily its most deadly mass shooting, where a white supremacist terrorist went and killed 50 people in one mosque, injuring another 42. And this absolute stick was there live streaming off a GoPro onto Facebook, and I know a number of us watched it to see what it could have possibly be done to stop this situation, and it was just breathtaking how awful and evil this was.
Well, the first takeaway that I have is you can live stream to Facebook from a GoPro.
No, he had a cell phone taped to his head or to a helmet or something.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, why? All right. So Savage is already lying in the news segment. Great job.
What?
Because I'm thinking I could get a GoPro and stream live.
Well, if you have
was a cell phone,
yes.
that's misinformation, Savage.
No, it was.
Stop editorializing and give us the actual news.
Media is the enemy.
Fake news.
Right. Well, so his first location, he absolutely wiped out everybody, and then he went to his second location to start opening fire. And one of the prominent members there actually found a gun that he had either dropped or discarded, and the guy then ran off into his vehicle, and then the person there at the mosque threw the gun at the car, breaking his rear window as he was driving off. So, he didn't necessarily shoot back at him, as was earlier reported. He did use a gun, but in the most basic ballistic sense of throwing it at the guy. Fortunately, he was able to chase the guy away, and the person was later caught. Fortunately, in the wake of this, the very next day, the PM, Prime Minister, absolutely vowed to ban all semi-automatic firearms in New Zealand, because, of course, that is the solution to stopping terrorists, because they really care what gun laws you put in place if they're going to plan on killing 50-plus people. Since then, the PM has walked back that language a little bit, so it's yet to be seen whether the government of New Zealand will actually ban all semi-autos. But the response has been insane. But they don't have a whole lot of excuses to use on this one, because firearms in New Zealand are very restricted. You have to get in an interview, as well as have references from friends, and there's registration involved. So it's not like it's a super lenient firearms laws over there in New Zealand. And piling on top of this, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez decided to on the NRA, because obviously they're involved in New Zealand, for sending thoughts and prayers, goodwill, and hoping that people will be able to recover from this horrible thing. And it's a cheap shot. If you're going to criticize people, criticize people who, would be involved. Like, the NRA is not in New Zealand. What the are you doing? And then B, if you're going to criticize people over thoughts and prayers, we get to criticize you over gun-free zones, because that's essentially what this was, and you see the result. So doing this kind of it doesn't help anyone. It's just there to score political points, and it's cheap, and you make yourself out to be ignorant.
There is an NRA in New Zealand, just saying.
You want to know something weird?
What?
More people died in New Zealand with that shooting than all New Zealand soldiers in the war against terrorism.
Interesting. All right, so I'd like to go back to the beginning here and talk about the video. So I watched it multiple times, just trying to figure out what it is, because it seems like everyone on the right wants to crow. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. So I watch these kind of videos to try to figure out, like, what are my learning points from the video. And watching this, he decides to go in finally. There's a guy walking in the door. He shoots that guy multiple times, walks over his body. There's a couple more engagements there in the hallway as he's walking down to the big prayer room. Walks into the prayer room and literally just starts opening up on the left, opening up on the right, opening up on the left, opening up on the right. So there's no good guy with a gun that's going to do anything there. He then walks outside that room again. I'm a little bit
He went back in 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, he went back in, and when he went back in, it looked like someone was running towards him and ended up knocking him down. It didn't appear like that person was trying to attack him from what I could see, and I watched it multiple times. It just looked like he was trying to escape. But he actually succeeded in kind of knocking the dude down, and I was thinking, well, what if this guy actually had that warrior mindset, that speed, surprise, and violence of action? You know, does this end there? But first of all, the people that are in that room, there's no surviving that. You may survive that, but there's no defending against that unless you, A, end up unhit, have a pistol in your pants, and can get into a position to shoot him when he comes back in the room. I was just like, this is a no-win situation. So this argument about the only thing that stops a bad guy is a good guy, it doesn't hold true. And then I'm thinking, well, if you do survive that and he ends up walking out, like, medical skills are gonna do more good than gun skills in that case. Ryan, what are your thoughts on that?
Respectfully, that's like looking at a horrible accident with a head-on collision with a semi-truck and saying, see, wearing a seatbelt didn't help anything. Wearing a seatbelt's not going to save your life, right?
I get it.
Yeah, that might be the one exception. I'm not even saying I completely agree, but if I did agree that any one of those people having a gun couldn't stop that, that doesn't mean that not wearing your seatbelt is still a good preventative measure. No.
I think everyone should carry 100% of the time, all the time. I think people should wear their seatbelts all the time, every time. I look at this not like, can I be a gunfighter and win this? I look at this like, how the do you survive this?
Gotcha. And you're right about that. So I make that point just a second. The other point of having the guns is you're not a gun-free zone, so you're not a victim like box. So he knows no one there is going to have guns, so he knows they're going to be easy victims.
Without question.
One of the reasons to carry a gun is a deterrent. But I love the whole medical stuff that you do, Sean, because I try to point out, I wrote a Truth About Guns article one time about, hey, does everyone remember that the word self-defense has the word defense in it? When most people I hear talk about self-defense, they talk about offense. I'm like, no, self-defense. They go, yeah, I'm going to shoot the guy. Great, so am I, if that's what comes down to it. But are you really going to sit there while you're bleeding to death from a gunfight, look at the other guy that's dead and go, yes, I won? I mean, no, you're bleeding to death. Right? So if the point is self-defense,
to be fair,
if you kill me, I'm going to kill you right back.
So I agree with you, Sean. Is I think we should focus on the offense without a doubt. Sometimes the best way to save the lives is to kill the bad guy without a doubt. But dying 5 minutes after the bad guy doesn't make you a winner. I think you need to know what to do to plug holes and keep people alive.
Yeah, but I mean, so that's why I watched it so many times. Is it wasn't medical, it wasn't anything else. I was just like, okay, I have a gun in this situation. Like, how the do I win this fight? And I couldn't figure out a way, like, unless I just got super lucky and didn't get hit by any of the rounds on the first 2 volleys when he goes in there.
I mean, that guy that ran into him and got pegged like right after he did could have ended it right then and there.
I agree.
Had he tried to actually attack the guy instead of just trying to run past him to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, there were windows. Throw a chair through a goddamn window and run.
There weren't any chairs.
Yeah, there weren't any chairs.
Yeah.
Throw your goddamn body through the window, take the cuts, and go. Don't just lay up in the fetal position under a chair or under a whatever, nothing in a corner, and just lay there and wait to get shot.
I haven't seen the video. What would have happened if everyone charged them?
See, that's the thing. And here
they would have overwhelmed them. There were too many of them.
I disagree. They were all like in the corner. So when they
would have rushed him.
Yeah, when they heard gunfire, they all went and hid in a corner of a room. So it was just a pile of bodies for him to unleash rounds in.
Right. But if they charged them, would that have worked? Because I mean, you guys know when you get shot, you don't die.
Right.
You have a long time to die after you get shot.
Yeah,
that's what freaks people, I think, the most. They see someone get shot, is realizing how long the person lives, even with a completely fatal shot.
Yeah.
With the layout of that building, he comes in. It's about a hallway, I would say about 20 feet long, and that enters into a big room that obviously has no rear exit in it. So he's got them all bottled up in there. And instead of everyone, standing up and trying to protect themselves, they all lay on the floor in a big mass. Yes. Obviously just putting themselves as an easier target.
It's like a school of fish. Like, you just try to get to the middle so the dolphin doesn't eat the ones on the outside. It was basically kind of like that. I mean, I have a whole class built around, this kind of that mentality of thinking and trying to get people to get out of it. I'm like, all right, you're at Walmart. You hear bang, 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 and it's up towards the doors that you walked in. What do you do? And they're like, I get outside. Okay, where? Where do you go? You're back, the very back in the middle of the store. Where do you go? I always use our local Walmart as a thing because there's electronics right there, and it's at like the middle of the building, all the way in the back. It is not the farthest corner from the front doors, but it's in the middle of the building, all the way in the back. I'm like, you can't tell if it's bang bang by that door or bang bang by that door over there. You just hear bang bang from the front of the store in the middle. You don't know if they're going that way. You don't know if they're going that way. What do you do? And everybody kind of hems and haws. Or, I'll go. I'll go fight, or I'll go what? I'm like, all right,
is there a rear exit there?
There is. It's literally right by the loading docks.
Right, that's where I would go.
They're literally just behind the electronics section. You don't have to go through the fucking store, but that's not how people think. I came in that door. I'm going out that door. They already had that plan. I come in this door. I go through my store like this, and then I go to the register, and I go out that door, and I go to my car. That was already the plan in their head, the whole OODA loop thing. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I'm like, there's loading docks. There's truck docks. There's go. Leave.
Okay, but in this situation that we're specifically talking about, it didn't appear like there was any exits in this big room.
There were windows. There were windows.
Were there?
There were windows big enough to get a body through. They
were
actually run at that, take the stitches, and then everybody else can go.
Now, looking at the windows.
From the first time that dude caught it with a shotgun before he dropped it, look for an exit or God make one.
So somebody in the live chat points out that there were 15 seconds roughly from when the first shot was fired to when he entered that large room. I didn't count that off.
Time to pile up on each other.
Yeah,
it was.
I mean, 15 seconds. Like you think about it. While it is enough time to make a decision, it's also not enough time to like kind of break yourself out of that and think critically. Like 15 seconds is pretty quick.
But that's where coming up with a plan before this happens is critical. Walking into a room and scanning for exits, walking into a room and go, what would I do if a guy came through that door with a shotgun right now? Play mind games with yourself. Do that as thought exercises, because if you already have the plan, you don't have to make a plan on the fly. You already have the plan. And go.
Have you shot
that whole conversation that Jeremy just had? 21 seconds.
Yep.
That took a long time.
It did.
Have you shot like USPSA or any of those? Because and some of those they will allow you to walk through and you plan out your stage or whatever. But then as soon as you hear that buzzer go off, even if your plan's awesome, like that buzzer goes off and you're like,
Guys, here you survive. Do anything. Anything you do, as long as you're doing something, you have a better chance of survival than doing nothing.
Yeah.
I purposefully don't make a plan when I go to 3-gun matches.
Yeah.
So jumping forward through this, the guy had a camera. He live streamed this. So there's a fellow in New Zealand who has been arrested for distributing this video.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's 22 years old. He's looking at up to 7 years in prison for sharing this video with people.
That's crazy.
Apparently, he downloaded it while it was available, and people were contacting him, and he was like PMing them a link or something.
Interesting. That's pretty ridiculous.
That just blows my mind.
I do want to go back and just talk about like the psychology of groups, because it was, I don't know, man. In the Harvest Festival from Las Vegas, if you're watching some of the cell phone videos and things that are going, the second people hear gunfire, they say get down. And in this, like it was almost like they'd all been shot ahead of time. Like when he walks in the room, there's a pile of people on the left and a pile of people in a corner on the right.
Literally a pile too. Like they are on top of each other. It's not like they're laying next to each other.
No, man, it was yeah. So I don't know.
They teach that a lot for school shootings too, which it's hard to Monday morning quarterback, but they have all the kids will go get into a corner of a room, which makes sense when they're hiding. But then the second someone gets into a room, they're all in a pile. There was a graphic demonstration where someone took a bunch of trash bags full of air.
Mm-hmm.
They tied trash bags full of air and piled them up in the corner of a classroom like a bunch of kids hiding. And he walked in with an airsoft gun and just shot into the corner and showed all the bags were popped. He's like, maybe we need to stop huddling in a corner. Maybe we need to spread out among the classroom.
Yeah.
So we don't become easy targets.
I told my son, just go through the window. Throw something through the window and go. You know, don't huddle. Don't hide. Get out.
It's one thing if I was in a situation where I had nothing and I just threw myself on my girlfriend and child to hopefully block a bullet. You know, he'll kill me and get distracted by something else and leave. That's one thing. But for f***'s sake, fight. Just fight. Fight back.
When you're shot, don't give up. The first time I ever trained with Sims, we had Simunitions, like 98? And we were clearing rooms, and someone hit me with a Sim round, and I went, oh, like they got me. I'm making a stupid move here.
Yep.
Okay, because it's completely stupid for my part, but I got hit. Like, oh, my team leader, ripped me a new ass. I go, what the hell just happened? I'm like, oh, no, he got me. Like, oh, no, he got me. Like, oh, you quit when you get shot now? That was a big speech that would, never leave me on, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Hold your breath and pinch off the blood to your head and see how long you last. Even if they vaporized your heart and lungs, that's how long you have to still fight.
Yeah. Yeah, this was interesting. If you can handle watching the video of people being murdered, it's valuable in your survival plan.
I once got shot in the nipple with a Sim round, and it took me out right there. Just saying.
Yeah.
I got hit in the nipples with a bunch of glass
last week.
Yeah.
Well, this is the last time we shoot glass jars of pizza sauce from 5 feet away. But yeah, watch the video if you can, because it helps you plan what to do. And we're sitting here and we're talking about this. We're like, this warrior mindset, never quit, never quit. You don't quit until you're literally dead. And so many people don't do that. We have to plan these things. We can't react with the rest of the group. We can't run to that corner. And the guy who was just trying to blindly run out of the room and ended up knocking the dude down. What if that guy had blood in his eyes and murder in his eyes? Would this have been over right there? Maybe. What if there was someone who had a firearm and was able to get a good position? So when the guy came back in the room, you're outside those piles, and it's just all this stuff, the ability that we have to watch these things in Armchair Quarterback. I don't want to criticize
possession of guns has to help, or else these things would happen at places where there's lots of gun possession.
Without question. All right. And then, the politicians, I was almost wondering, because wasn't there was another shooting in Switzerland or something? Netherlands. Yeah. There was another one in the Netherlands. I looked up today. I was like, are these NATO nations? Because it would be interesting if all these things were happening in NATO nations, because we clearly in the past have seen some NATO regulation that may lead to gun control in the United States. But anyway, they're not.
That does happen to be the next story. Unfortunately, there was a well, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily wouldn't classify as a U.S. mass shooting, but it probably would classify as a UN mass shooting. So there's a guy who is suspected of rape and accused and probably getting prosecuted for it, opened fire on a bus in the Netherlands, killing 3 and wounding 5. So there's that thing going on.
Yeah. I mean, suspected rapist?
Yeah, he'd been charged with rape. It was confirmed. His lawyers refused to comment. There was a thought that there might be a relation between him and the victims, possibly of the rape, but no, it was just some random people who just got a gun and started shooting in a place where it's kind of hard to get a gun and start shooting people.
Yeah. And again, no matter what laws you have, gun-free zones, all that stuff, all bad. We know it. And
you know how rare this is? I hear people talking about this is like an attack on mosques and this isn't tolerance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm about to make myself very unpopular. It is so rare, it makes news and it keeps us talking about it for someone to attack a mosque.
We say it all the time.
Why? These people were innocent. They did not deserve it. Without a doubt, it's a horrible incident. However, why does the media seem to ignore all the Christians that get killed every single day or week by Muslim extremists out there?
Because it's more common.
That's exactly my point. So I've heard people say this is horrible. This is an epidemic. I go, no, it's not an epidemic. It's so rare, it's worldwide news. What's common is the other way around.
Well, because
I don't disagree.
Don't you know? It's all about you can't be Islamophobic and that's just it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my problem. Call it horrible. Call it. It is horrible, but just when they call it Islamophobic, they call it, well, this is an epidemic or this is a trend of gun violence. It's like, whoa. Let me show you the thousands of incidents of, I don't know, knife violence the other way around that gets ignored. It's sickening.
Yep. So, Ryan, I was actually going to ask, so with these two things here, and I know that this sounds terrible, but why in the U.S., why are we even questioning? Like, we see this in the news, this is a terrible thing, and then we move on with our lives. Like, how has this been brought into the gun policy debate in the United States, something that happened in New Zealand where most people don't even know where New Zealand is? Like, and do you think, Ryan, that this will lead to greater pushes for gun control in the United States, and why?
Sure. I think gun control pushes are emotional, and I think like a lot of emotional, and that's not trying to criticize it. I think they're stupid, but I'm not saying by calling them emotional, I'm not criticizing them. Is with emotional things, it's a build-up and a build-up and a build-up of other things that happen. So there's no doubt in my mind that the next gun control legislation is going to mention in at least one of the press conferences New Zealand. Yeah. Like his manifesto mentioned he wanted to influence things in the U.S. So, yeah, it's an emotional argument. It's like the whole socialist thing that you see a lot of the younger Democrats or liberals that are going towards.
Yeah.
The emotional appeal is too much for them. They have to resist the siren song of some of these policies. And it sounds really, really good on paper, again, to ban guns or ban violence or universal background checks. But when you really stop and get down into it, you realize that, by the way, Aaron, registration leads to confiscation.
Listen, it doesn't always.
Well,
I'm so sick of this subject.
Aaron, when has it not? When has it not?
I register my guns and no one's confiscated them.
Yeah.
What do you mean
So
you
it has
registered
not.
them? Help me understand.
We have to register our pistols in Michigan.
Oh, so they haven't been confiscated yet, so it won't happen. I got you. Never mind.
No.
Do you believe in vaccines? Should people vaccinate their children?
Yeah.
Well, there's people that have not vaccinated their children that haven't had measles yet. Does that mean that they were right?
Holy
How about this?
Whoa.
Nevada,
He asked a
they used to have
question.
gun registration, and now they don't. So, Nevada? You heard of that state, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had gun registration, and now they don't. They got rid of it.
There was a county.
So some parent didn't vaccinate their kid, and then they did, and the kid didn't.
It did not lead to confiscation there. That's my point.
Okay,
I'm going to stick with the vaccination argument.
It's good.
I know you do because it's working for you.
California registered guns and confiscated them.
Yes,
our country.
not California. California has a lot of dumb laws.
But for the registration, they couldn't have confiscated.
And I agree with you. And I think registration is the stupidest thing in the world. I don't like registration. I think it's dumb. And if I didn't have to, I would not register my firearms. However, as a law-abiding citizen, I do follow the letter of the law, and I hope that they don't register. I mean, that they don't confiscate them. There's no. Yes, they may. They could. They haven't. But it could happen. It has not happened yet. I'm not denying it. It could happen, but I'm also saying it's not going to happen.
Over at the chat, it just said 911, 911. What's your emergency? Me. I think I'm witnessing Aaron's murder right now.
It's pretty brutal. I'm not going to deny it. This is up.
I love it.
Do you believe that confiscation can end up leading to tyrannical governments?
Yes, I do.
Right, but there's places where guns have been confiscated where the government didn't immediately turn tyrannical.
Didn't immediately, but they could. Not yet.
Well, okay,
not yet.
You can't argue both sides.
Yeah.
I'm arguing your argument now. I'm arguing your argument. You can't say I can't argue your argument.
You can't double stamp or triple stamp, Aaron.
Oh!
Yes.
You guys want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Aaron, say something.
So going back real quick to New Zealand, I was actually thinking to myself, I was like, wow, literally the most powerful individual, the person who wields the most power in all of New Zealand and all of their government and all of their rich people and poor people. The person who holds the most power is this shooter, because with one manifesto and one act of hatred, he is changing all of their public policy, affecting all of their legally owned firearms, affecting all their law-abiding citizens.
That's why they want to ban guns.
Yeah,
people that have an issue with power, that had daddy issues, that had problems with being the meek in society, they want to ban guns because they don't like other people having that power. I mean, Colorado was famous in the late 90s for doing a survey with people on the street, where they came back with an overwhelming support for banning guns.
Yeah.
Okay? And they said, well, wait, what? All the people in Colorado in the late 90s overwhelming support banning guns? And they actually looked at the question of the study, and the question they were asking people on the sidewalks in Colorado were, do you believe that any person should possess the power to kill anybody else at a moment's notice?
Yep.
So, yeah, you're right. He's got the power right now, and that's why they want to ban guns, is they don't want that to happen. They just don't get it.
Yes.
Thank you for your input.
100%. Okay, Savage, you have any other stories there?
I think we can probably leave it there.
All right. That was excellent. That was fun, guys.
It was fun.
Oh, damn. It's awesome.
Hey, having sex doesn't lead to pregnancy. I know someone that had sex one time, and they didn't get pregnant. So.
Yeah, but, hey, statistically.
God, we should have had Kleckner on so long ago just to put this to bed.
I need to get a law degree just so I can argue against Aaron.
You could get 5 law degrees and you're not Kleckner.
Yeah, that's true.
I only had sex one time. My girlfriend's pregnant.
We're still going on there, huh? All right, let's do some reviews.
It's positively positive.
All right, so this is where Jeremy reads the reviews. If you haven't left us one on either iTunes or Facebook, we would really appreciate it if you did. Jeremy, take it away.
All right. Like Riding a Bike by Eve L. Ken Eve L. 5 stars. This show is like riding a bike without a seat on a bumpy road that is on fire. I love it. Keep it up.
Okay, thank you. Hold on a minute. Without a seat?
Ouch.
That seems uncomfortable.
Well, you do like it.
All right, move on.
Didn't deny it.
It's like the registration versus confiscation. I'm just over it.
This show by Folkstar. 5 stars. I have a heart condition, and my doctor said to take it easy, so this show is my guilty pleasure. I especially enjoy when and then he puts in, like, the code for unlimited life on Doom.
The Konami code? I think he actually...
That's the Konami code. IDDQD, IDKFA,
Yeah, I think he died, actually.
He was faking a heart attack.
Yeah.
In the words. It's like...
Did you know that you can say the alphabet as one word? It's Ab Kadefka Hij Kolomnop Kurstivixes.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened.
I think it is W.
I didn't know that.
And X.
Just Ab Kadefka Hij Kolomnop Kurstivixes.
You just taught me something.
Yeah. See,
I didn't hear W.
Kurstiv Wixes. Kurstiv Wixes.
I'll say
do you know what the longest palindrome is?
No.
Your mom?
Man, a plan, a canal, Panama.
Wow. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama.
Write that down. That's a palindrome.
That's amazing. Do you know what the longest words in the English language are?
Your mom?
No, that's the fattest word. Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis and anti-disestablishmentarianism.
I don't care.
I didn't come here to learn fancy words. Talk about guns.
That's weird that it's Aaron. It's just because he has nothing else to say right now.
No, I had something to say earlier, and I can't remember what it was. It was a burn on you, and I forgot it. God. Oh, no. It was you saying the alphabet. It was you saying you added an extra E when you said the X part.
That's because the Y is pronounced as an E.
But the X, you don't say X when you say X. Like xylophone, you don't say Xophone.
Cursive Vixes.
But you do say X-ray.
Yeah, because it's X stat dash ray. It's not X-ray.
What about sex? You say X.
X is in the end. Not all right. So
Wait,
no.
you have sex in the end?
Yeah, quite.
But it's
All I got,
not-
man. That's all I got. Give it to me.
It's Xerxes, not Xerxes.
All right, guys. There's a place where you can go. It's lovewls.com. There's 4 things you can do there. You can get our advertisers, all links to their websites and all their coupon codes. You can find our We Like Shooting store where you can buy this Buffalo Trace t-shirt. You can find the Rooftopper Rewards program where you share links. Every time someone clicks it, you get points. Those points turn into swag. Plus, you get to share your favorite podcast. Well, not Trigger Words, but We Like Shooting, your second favorite podcast. That was a diss on us. And then last but not least, our Patreon group where you can ask Ryan Kleckner all kinds of questions, which people seem to do a lot.
I answer in there every once in a while.
I know. It's awesome. I just love it because I'm like, oh, he's busy. But guys, don't bug him. But then you answer and I'm like, okay, well, now the precedent has been set. But that's all available at Love WLS. Don't forget, subscribe to our new YouTube channel where we do our live shows. That's WLSlive.com, or you can just find our regular everyday review channel, which is youtube.com/We Like Shooting. Bless you, Nick.
Thank you.
Again, Ryan, thanks so much for being here. People can find all your stuff at ryankleckner.com, including Gun University, right?
That's true, but you know what? Support We Like Shooting. That's what I'm on here about. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing.
No, support that. Support Ryan Kleckner.
Except you, Aaron. You.
I'm going to go home now.
Support We Like Shooting and also Ryan Kleckner.
You can support us both. You can, I promise.
Yeah.
And install Mayday Safety, but more importantly, tell your organization that they need to get Mayday Safety.
Yeah, Mayday Safety is free. It costs me money for you to use it.
Yeah.
So
And
spite me. Go use
Oh,
it.
I'm
Exactly.
using it now. Hold on. Stand by.
Don't do it, Nick. Don't do it. We always say join a gun-related advocacy group. We have tried to make the case for the NRA still being viable as our only huge lobbying organization. I still agree with that 100%. But also Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation, all valid and worthwhile. Just don't forget there's 3 tenets to fight for the Second Amendment in this country, and that is activism, lobbying, and litigation when those other 2 things fail. Figure out how best you can fit into all 3 of those categories and do it. The suicide prevention line, the number is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. Or you can text Aaron.
74. Don't text me, but text 741-741.
Yes, do that. And I think that's it, guys. You know, we're here live every week on Monday and Wednesday night. And, well, except for last week. Aaron, were we not? We weren't live Wednesday?
We weren't live Wednesday.
Why?
No.
Why?
Blizzard.
Oh, it was a bomb cyclone, actually.
I don't even know what that means. It was a blizzard.
Does anyone here know what the bomb cyclone is?
It sounds like a burrito
storm?
that's icy cold. Or one of those big drinks that we got when we go to Vegas.
Oh, no. That is kind of a bomb cyclone. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it snowed real bad here, and it was gone like literally the next day, so it wasn't even really that big of a deal. But we missed the show because we were afraid we were going to die. And some people did. Is that true, Nick?
I don't actually. Yeah. There was at least one casualty.
Yeah, see, some people were saying we should have recorded the show anyway, and I'm saying, what, you want us to die? That's not fair. But anyway, we're here live every week, Monday, mostly Wednesday nights, but we're on demand every day. Go to welikeshooting.com/show, and you can subscribe to everything and catch us when we're actually on. And we're there every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can find us, as we always say. Thanks for listening, guys. Get some medical training and shoot straight. All right. So this show had the most titles in the universe. I got Pick on the Poors, Find Your Aim, Acceptable Accuracy, Next Shot Matters, Ron Solo, and Do You Smell Popcorn?
I'm preference to Ron Solo.
Ryan,
That is pretty funny.
which is your favorite?
The remainders were mine.
They were. They were actually.
I think
Quit
Do
sucking,
You Smell
Ryan.
Popcorn?
Whoa.
I think Do You Smell Popcorn is the one that came up the most.
That one did, and I actually did go back and search to make sure we hadn't named an episode that previously, and we have not. So
How do you find the time to do that during the podcast?
I just searched the website for popcorn. I just typed in popcorn, and it didn't smell it, so it was fine.
Did you think that show was worth $1? Help the cast by visiting lovewls.com.